Nice. Well, we're live. That's okay. I've now unmuted y'all. So welcome everybody back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic, and this is episode 251 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast. It is also the May Chosen of Valhalla stream, and guys, we're live on YouTube. It worked. We're there. We made it. We did it. I want to, again, now that I have everyone here on YouTube's attention, I want to apologize again for last night. I don't know why YouTube wasn't working. Funny story. Now, DLive isn't working, but based on what I saw, it looked like it just signed me out, and so next time I'll probably be able to get DLive up, but that's okay. Just a couple people typically watch on DLive, and normally there are people that also watch on YouTube from time to time as well. So I think that we will be okay.
Will.
Will being one, Dean Heiss also being another who also made a Odyssey account last night. So now he's available on all the platforms. But I want to say thank you to everyone who was able to jump over to those other platforms last night. And again, apologies to anyone that was not available or did not get the message. I tried to get it into the YouTube chat before deleting that stream because I didn't want people thinking that I wasn't coming on, with it just being there waiting for, we're used to waiting for Nerdrotic, but waiting for Odin is not something typically that happens. So I didn't want that. But the other sad thing is that it looks like Heimdall might be down. However, I'm going to go ahead and try something really quick to see if I can fix that. And while I do, let's say hello to the beautiful panel of my Chosen of Valhalla. Let's start just going down the line. We've got the wonderful, the beautiful, the talented, incredibly talented artist, Rosetta Allen. Rosetta, how's it going?
Tired. Too many days up trying to help out with people.
Yeah. I can feel that. We just finished the end of our school year, and the amount of students coming in, hey, what can I do to pick up my grade? Hey, I had all these. It's amazing how many people can have because obviously it happens, right? Really bad things can happen to people, but it's amazing how many of those things happen during a very specific time of the year. And I hate to have to question my students, but sometimes the timing is a bit suspect. But I'm glad that you're here, Rosetta, and I hope that we can.
It's sitting backstage with him, doing all the work we do together for hours every day, and being there when him and his mom found out that his dad passed, and hearing them crying was not the day I wanted to have it ever.
Yeah.
And it's just been an insane several days since, just trying to help them out as much as I can.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and again, shout out to you for doing that for them, for being there for them, because
there's not, unfortunately, a lot I can do other than talk to him some. And okay, I sent him a cheap laptop off of clearance so that he can do more stuff in the living room with his mom with her disability.
Yeah,
that's about all I can really do from here.
But you know what? At the end of the day, that is more than what some people would be willing to do for someone. So kudos to you for doing that, because it might seem like something small, it might seem like something unimportant, but to the person that you helped, I know that it probably means the world to them. So that's awesome.
Richard's a good guy, and he has done so much to help me out for months and months, and he does so much for me backstage. It's heartbreaking watching him go through this.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to join us today. And you mentioned earlier before the stream that you got some puzzles, and
yeah.
So, of course, we will always have each other's back, and so thank you for showing that and being a witness to that by having the backs of others who are going through these times. So, thank you for being here, and thank you for being awesome. We also have joining us Mr. Roy. Mr. Roy, how is it going, good sir?
It's going okay.
Just okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, just a lot of work. It's rained here for about 8 days straight.
Oh.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of that, I think, of the last couple weeks we were getting some of that crazy weather, because I know for instance, down in Louisiana, there was like a really bad tornado in the actual city of New Orleans. So I've experienced some of that, of the fronts coming through, but 8 straight days of rain, that's no bueno.
Yeah, the rivers here are cresting right now. We're kind of worried, but I mean, I mean, it's flooded here before. It's not a big deal.
As someone from New Orleans, flooding is always a big deal. Because like, it's one of those things where it's like it can be worse than, in certain situations and not so bad in other situations. So hopefully y'all are not in like a really bad flood area where you get like lots of water if there is flooding. Or is it one of those things where flooding usually when it happens isn't too bad, like maybe a couple stalled cars, but houses for the most part being okay?
It depends on where you're at. There's some areas like Jasper's really bad. There's several feet of water in people's houses and stuff like that. Yeah, when the rivers crest, they get really bad.
Yeah.
In certain areas.
Yeah, in New Orleans, it was never as much of an issue with the rivers. It's that we lived in a bowl, and so we were surrounded by levees, right? And so obviously that has a lot of control over. But the levees sometimes would have cresting, and then also we have, of course, these sewer systems and these canals. And the canals also would crest, and that would also cause some flooding from time to time as well. And not the it's flood waters, or it's rainwater, or it's ocean water, river water. Oh no, it's canal sewage type water, and it's just not good. So I'm glad to hear that hasn't happened yet, from the sound of it, where you are. So hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah. So the issue in my area is that I had the Nature's River to one side of me, and I had the Savine River to the other side of me, and then I had the lakes above me. So
Okay.
I'm basically surrounded by a bunch of water, and when it rains, it all comes down south.
So for some reason in my head, I just saw like a little image, and it's like you like just curled up, and you got water like on all sides of you, and you're just like, okay,
Yeah.
so I guess I'll wait then. Hopefully nothing happens.
Yeah.
Well,
I
thank
guess
you.
it could be worse. My head was popping up listening to I'm only happy when it rains as he was talking about this.
I am one of those persons where I do enjoy a good rain shower. But thank you for being here, Mr. Roy. I hope that the rains don't persist to cause any crazy flooding in your area. And thank you for being here.
For sure.
Absolutely. Someone who also deals with a lot of craziness where they live is our next person, and that is, of course, ZK Man, very talented artist as well. ZK Man, how's it going?
Doing pretty good. Nah, I don't know what you're talking about. It's always peaceful and quiet and nothing going on.
Never anything going on up there, ever.
That's the reason why I'll be moving in 2 months.
That's right. That's right. It's like every stream we get a little bit closer to that. So I bet you're very excited. But otherwise, how's it been?
It's been pretty good. And pretty much keeping busy a lot between work and then trying to get things together for the move, and then also trying to stay creative at the same time.
Okay. Very nice. And how are the creative juices going? Are they flowing?
They seem to be doing pretty good. Got a couple of things in the works. I don't really want to give any dates out just yet because with the move, I don't know exactly when things, but I have been working on some music, plus also working on a book idea that I've had for about a year now.
Okay. Very cool. Very, very cool. And could you maybe share what the book idea in general is?
Pretty much, guess it's sort of sci-fi type deal where you think of, it's like best way to describe it, I guess, would be reincarnation, but with multiple planets.
Ooh.
Oh.
So people being reborn, but it's a different planet, different atmosphere, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, that sounds nice. Well, good luck with that, good sir. You have the ideas all in your head, you just need to put it down?
Yeah, pretty much. Let's put it this way. I got to a point to where I know how I want to end it. I just got to get what's in between the beginning and the end.
It's always amazing to hear writers talk about books and stories, because it's always one of like, it's usually like, I have the beginning, I just don't know where it'll go, or I have the end, I just don't know how to get there. It's just always interesting to hear that, because you typically, when we read stories or see movies or shows, we typically think that everything is just known in advance and it's all this master plan, and then you realize, oh no, there's a lot more to it than just the all the ideas being existing all at the same time.
And especially like with me, whenever I'm writing, most of the time it's whatever's in my mind at that moment of me writing is what ends up being on the paper.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's awesome though, and thank you for being here, especially as things don't seem to be as crazy as they have been in past streams, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah. They settle down a little bit. They still have their little groups running around every now and then, but for the most part, it's not as bad. Like I said, it's a lot quieter than what it was.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's summertime though, so a lot of people will be off and have more time, and let's just hope that it's nothing like last summer.
Oh yeah, I might be leaving a little bit sooner.
Yeah. Totally understand that. So thank you for being here once again, good sir. We also have joining us the Empress of the Universe. She is one of
wait, that's me.
The Valkyries. She's one of the Valkyries, one of the mods. I drove her crazy last night, forcing her to join Odyssey.
Yeah, he did.
And she had to actually make a channel. So let's hope that now that a channel has been created, maybe we'll start getting some videos. She is, of course, Tina. Tina, how's it going?
A channel which is entitled, I think, I don't have a title. I might get one later, but probably not.
We'll see how things go.
So you had to create a channel before you could come on and create an account?
Yeah, I mean, I jump into the chat, put a comment in, and it says, "Oh, you have to join first." And so I try, then I sign up, and then it's like, we're sending a verification code to your email. So I had to put that in, and then it says, "Oh, you have to set up a channel." And I'm like, no, I just want to get into Odin's stream. So I go back to your stream, try to comment, and it takes me back to the main page and says, no, you have to set up a channel.
Yeah, I know that they're working on all of these different, problems and issues, and it's, as I said, when you think about age-wise where it is, it's very much still in its infancy as far as streaming platform. So it's one of those things where it's obviously not nearly as polished as places like YouTube, or even younger ones like DLive, for instance, which has come a long way too. But yeah, it's getting there. But Tina, I'm sorry that I made you go through that.
No, that's okay. I mean, because I was texting Stephanie and saying, well, you can word this to Odin however you want, but
and then $5 in the swear jar.
And it's $5 in the swear jar, which will go to my cruise next year.
There you go.
No, I'm doing okay. It looks like the cruise industry might actually get started for the summer.
Nice.
There's supposedly there's a bill in, I don't know, Congress, the Senate, somewhere, and then they have to send it to Joe's desk, and if you just tell him sign it, he won't know what it is anyway.
Tina, getting real.
Hopefully, yeah. So, that thing, just say here, just sign it. That thing, so just sign it here.
Well, when you start talking about the bill and where it was, all I could think of was, I'm just a bill. I'm just a bill about the cruise industry. I don't know where I am. Maybe I'm in committee. I don't know.
So, but no, things are going well. I finished up I was telling you all, I think the last stream I was reading The Tale of Genji for that World Lit class that I did, and which is considered the first novel in world history. And I finished the sections they had assigned, even though I was finished with the class, because I was like, well, I kind of want to see this. I consider it finished. And if anyone ever complains about Russian literature and says that War and Peace is too long for them, try reading Japanese literature, because Tale of Genji is like 4,000 pages.
Wow. Yeah. I don't even think I could ever dream of reading a book that long. The longest book I've ever read is, and I'm as typical fashion, I was blank on the name, but I do have it now, and it was Pillars of the Earth. It was the longest book.
Oh, I remember that one.
That I've ever read, and I'm pulling that up right now, and let's see, that book was 983 pages. So,
that's nothing. I think the brothers Dostoevsky is like 1,500.
Oh yeah. Trust me, I know my reading level and skill is not very good, to put it bluntly and honestly.
Yeah, I read brothers. I said Dostoevsky, brothers Karamazov. I've read that for leisure, and I was on the bus heading home from work, and I would read it during my commutes.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy on the bus said, "Excuse me, are you reading that?" He said, "I have to ask you, are you reading that for a class?" And I said, "No, I'm reading it for leisure." And he was like, "Oh my God." He said, have you gotten to the, I can't remember the Inquisitor, the Inquisition scene yet?" And I said, "No." And so he said, "Well, I'm not going to spoil it for you," but he was kind of, telling me a little bit about it. He said, "Oh, you're going to love that chapter." And he was right. I did. So,
girl, it was anything I could get my hands on to read. And I liked all those big grown books that they talk about in college and high school. I liked that stuff as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had great teachers when I was in school. And my mom, she loved books, so she kind of passed that on to me. But yeah, I was like, okay, I've read the assignments that they gave for the World Lit class. I'm just going to leave the other 2,000 pages. Maybe someday, if I, like, hey, I'll go back to read Tale of Genji from the very beginning and go all the way to the end.
Yeah, I've already started a collection of books that I want to read over the summer, and most of them are like history, theology, things like that. And so that's why I mentioned it on Twitter the other day. I finally I realized I don't own the Lord of the Rings books in actual physical form. I have them on audiobook, and I've been waiting for me to have more time to actually pay attention to those stories, because my dad read them to us when we were younger, but it's been well over 25 years since I've probably actually heard the story, like the actual book versus the films for Lord of the Rings. So I finally got that, and there's this nice little pocketbook.
Nice.
It's like a pocketbook set, like they're vinyl covers. And so a lot of people have complaints of, it's because they're pocketbooks, they're smaller print. But as someone who's used to reading things like, I just have this next to me, like, the Bible, which is notorious for having small print. It's like, what, I think I'll be okay if it's a similar size. So that's coming in some point today.
Oh,
but
my God.
I'm also looking to, you mentioned the brothers Karamazov?
Karamazov, yeah.
Karamazov. So that's another, I've never read that before, but I've been told it's a very good book to read. It's just a good book in general. So.
Yeah, it's I don't have the translators' names in front of me. I read their translation of Anna Karenina. And so then I started looking for any of the Russian works that they had translated, because theirs is considered like top of the line.
Mm-hmm.
And they did one of War and Peace, which I have on my Kindle and also a physical copy. Thank God they did movie versions. Because I think I got about 400 pages into it, and it was like, I can't do this right now. So I need to get back to that. And I had promised myself I was going to read Brothers Karamazov every decade or so. So it's past due. And I want to start reading Patrick O'Brien's Jack Aubrey series. I would love to tackle those again. So
nice.
And yeah, Laura's right. Yeah, with the audiobooks, it's really nice. I was trying to go through some audiobooks this morning because I have 2 credits, and on a, not for Audible, but through audiobooks.com. And I was so glad that people post reviews and say the book is good, but the narrator sucks, because I just finished that Gates of Fire by I think Stephen Pressfield, and it's like the book is kind of okay, but the narrator,
it's amazing how much of an impact that can have on a book. And that's why, you know, I love audiobooks too, because, you know, with my ADD, it's easier for me to listen to stories and take them in that way than read the pages and then have to go back and reread everything because I, you know, get lost or whatever. But it's interesting because there are some stories that I think have been either made better or worse because of the person doing the voice acting.
Yeah.
So a great example of what I can think of is the person who did the original voice acting for A Wrinkle in Time. Obviously, not talking about the Ava DuVernay piece of garbage film, talking about the original book.
Right.
That one, actually, I'm going to be honest, like the story wasn't terrible based on what the voice actor did, but the way the voice actor, it was a male, the way that he did the main protagonist, who was a young girl's voice, made her so annoying and so grating that I was like,
heard of a movie or audio or stuff of anything from Wrinkle in Time series, even the ones that came later with Meg's Kids, all of them that I've ever seen, they do horrible when they do audiobooks or movies of it. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's the oddest thing.
Books. They are really good books.
With Gates of Fire, I had heard really good reviews of it. And I think maybe if I had read the physical copy and not listened to the audiobook, I would have a better impression of it. I think it's required reading at a couple of the military academies because the book does show you how the Spartans trained. The problem is they advertise the book as being about the Battle of Thermopylae, and Thermopylae only comes in at the last third of the book. And he is the only person. I have seen numerous documentaries about Thermopylae. The narrator is the only person I have heard called Leonidas.
Ooh.
And that just, I mean, it was like every time he said it, I would cringe, and I was like, I don't know how many documentaries I've seen, and there's even, well, not just 300, but there's the 300 Spartans from back in the 60s. And I'm like, no one has ever called him Leonidas.
Yeah.
And this guy's really driving me crazy.
There is
there is a place for being a grammar Nazi. I mean,
no, you're right. No, you're totally right. You're totally right. And that is not a no word on the channel, Rosetta. So don't even concern yourself, because it's true. There are times when we do have to be very focused on the grammar. And it reminds me, because I've just mentioned this to Laura in the chat, because she's also run into issues with audiobooks. It's more so normally because it's an abridged version instead of the full version. And sometimes it's the only version available. Like for instance, for Star Wars novels, Outbound Flight, there's an audiobook, but it's only available in an abridged version. And the abridged version is actually good, but it does leave out like a lot of the story. But it reminds me, there was also the X-Wing series, which I think anyone who's I don't know if that's the correct name of the series or not, but there's this X-Wing series where it's a series of novels, and it's post Return of the Jedi, and it's just dealing with the, you know, these different stories, or maybe it's during the events, I forget. But the stories not only are all abridged, and they're short stories in the first place. So not only are they abridged they should be 6 hours and they're 3 hours, so they're cutting out like half the book. But then the person who did the voice work was so atrociously bad. He was mispronouncing names of cities, mispronouncing character names, and then he tried to do, notice the word try there, and he failed epically. He tried to do Admiral Akbar. And instead of doing, you know, a more traditional Admiral Akbar, instead his Admiral Akbar was like Sean Connery. And I was like, what are you doing? It sounded like a kid who just recorded it, had a nice microphone, decided to record it, and then Disney or whoever was in charge of the audio recording was like, oh, we'll take this. We'll give you $20 for the work you did, and put it up on Audible.
Oh my God.
That's what it sounded like.
Like Drinker always says, oh, nah, it'll be fine. throw it out there. But yeah, that's been about it. I've watched a few gamers do Resident Evil Village, and it's always fun seeing how everybody approaches that. I was screaming at the TV because, Drinker was playing the game the other night. I see he hasn't finished it. And I was like, shoot the chickens, shoot the pig. You can collect those. He can make you up a meal and will increase your lives. And he was just like, damn chickens pop. And then he would go on, and I was like, nobody in the chat is telling him what to do with the chicken.
No one's listening to me.
No one's listening. So yeah, it's been fun watching people play that, and it seems like it's a fun game. And I'm not a gamer, but Andrew was saying that he had finished it, and he said there's an awoke thing in it, and I was like, nope,
That's
not
rare.
an awoke thing at all. So
That's nice to hear.
No apologies for the villain being a villain, which I loved. So that's been about it. So.
Nice. Very, very cool. Well, thank you as always for being here and for being in the chat as well.
Welcome.
And we do have a couple of super chats, but I'll get to those after we introduce the last person on the panel. She is the modern Major General. And as I always like to say, she's the mother of the channel. She takes care of us. She has taken care of me more times than I can count, especially in helping me grow my knowledge of not just Star Wars lore, but just things in general. And she is, of course, the lovely, the amazing Laura, waiting for Nerdrotic. Ryan stole my fan fiction story. Laura, how's it going?
Wow, what a nice introduction. That'll make your day right there.
There you go. How's it been going?
Oh, good. So I've been having fun watching everybody play the Resident Evil Village games. It's very creepy. I don't know.
It is.
I like seeing the clips of Az playing it. Those are my favorites so far.
Oh, Lord. I hope everybody's doing well today on a lovely Sunday. Except for it's raining precipitously. Yay.
And of course, all I could think of when you said that was Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
That's because you're weird, Odin.
I haven't been to we used to go to the Monster Jam truck rallies all the time. I haven't been to one in quite a while.
I love those commercials so much, though.
Oh, have you ever been to one of the Monster Jam truck?
Oh yeah. When I was a kid, that was like the thing we went to. So I was a big fan of Gravedigger. And then I remember when it was like the Skull and Bones truck. I forgot the name of it. Maybe it's not Skull and Bones, but it's like a skull. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Gravedigger's the one that I remember.
Yeah.
That's the super popular one.
Yeah, that's like the black and green dynamic.
Yeah.
But I forgot what the one where it's like the skull. But I remember that it was like a brand new truck. And so I was watching it when that became brand new. But the best thing about those commercials that always sticks with me was it'd be like, come on down to we da 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 da. And then it would be like, and kids' seats are still only $5.
It's a great deal.
That's what I can remember.
Full day of fun.
Oh, yeah.
They have new cars every time, but there's a couple that are classics. They have Son of a Gravedigger now, and let's see, El Toro. It's a car dressed up like a big bull, and it's so much fun.
They are,
and then I miss just doing fun stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and they also, and then they would have at the end, they'd have different things. So there was like a Transformers. Like there were two Transformer cars, not like the show Transformers, but they would be cars that would transform into like these fire breathing things, and they would like quote unquote fight each other. It was awesome.
Ooh,
I never got that.
Oh yeah.
Huh. Maybe they're limited because the Oakland Stadium's kind of small, but
yeah,
interesting.
Well, also this is back. Back
in the day.
Back in the day, back when I was just a little chap. Yeah, like it was like 25 years ago was like the last time I went to one of those, and at the very end they would typically have that, and all of it was fun, and we would always have to go, and we'd have our little earbuds in because it was too loud for us as kids.
Loud.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, they have the finale every year, I guess, is in Vegas, and we've been talking forever about going. I just thought, excuse to go to Vegas, basically. But we never went. But I mean, it's all online these days. But
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
the car's doing flips now. They have
Oh,
a
yeah.
ramp set up, and they punch it right in front of the ramp, and it flips the whole car over.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because before, the closest you'd get to that is they would go on the little ramps where it was just a little jump, and then they would, like, over-accelerate, and then they would, like, land straight up, like, just with, like, the top just facing up to the sky. And then you're always nervous because you're like, please don't tip back. Please don't get hurt. And the K-Man put in the chat, and I remember this. And this is, I think, one of the cars that I was talking about was that they teamed up with the WWE back in the day. Had Stone Cold, Steve Austin, Undertaker, Monster Trucks. And the Stone Cold one, I think, is the one that actually kept going after the fact. And I think it was like a skull, but I forgot the name of that truck. But, oh, man, that's bringing me back, Laura. That's awesome.
I just went recently. The wife and her friend went, and I was just, stuck my nose up in the air. I was like, oh my goodness, truck rally is ridiculous. And then they were like, no, you have to go. So they dragged me, and I was like, I can't believe I ever turned this down. This is so much fun.
This is always amazing. The things that you never thought you would get into or, be excited about, it's just amazing how all that stuff works. And, I just saw that someone is actually watching on Odyssey. And so let me go ahead and see if this will work. Say something.
Hello.
Me? What?
Maybe I need
coffee.
to add this. Let's see. Audio output capture. Let's add the desktop audio. Okay. They should hear you now. There we go. Oh, hello, Rosetta Hubby. Hello, Rosetta Hubby. How's it going, Rosetta Hubby?
What's how you doing? I'm okay.
Just okay? That's it?
Then take care of her.
Indeed. She's awesome. You're a very lucky man, good sir.
Cat ears. Love you, honey. Love you.
Aw, so sweet. But Laura, thank you for being here and for bringing me back. Because because it was fun. It's amazing. I was saying before I got distracted by Odyssey. Beforehand, you go to these things that you never thought you would ever like, that you never thought would be any fun at all, and then all of a sudden you have this one experience, and you're just like, oh, this is exciting. This is actually a lot more fun. Like baseball. Typically, when you think about baseball, you think, oh, it's boring. You just watch it. And then you go, and it's not always the case. Like some people might have the opposite experience. But for me, it was like, oh, this is actually really fun because you got the crowd, you got the fans, there's different personalities. And it was a lot of fun.
We've got a lot of good minor league teams around here, and that it's just a completely different experience. It's so much more fun than we've got several. We've got the Oakland A's and the San Francisco Giants here. But you go to a minor league game, it's just wacky. They have this thing where they pick one guy, and if that guy strikes out, beer's $1. So everybody in the stands, when he gets up and he gets one strike, everybody kind of stands up, and then strike two, everybody kind of moves to the end of the aisle. I love it. And then strike three, everybody runs to the beer stand. They do all kinds of wacky things like that. It's so much fun.
Oh, isn't wacky? I love wacky stuff. Again, they have to keep some of it because for some people they need a little bit more than just the game itself, and so I'm glad that they always add those extra things for people to.
Well, see, you got the kid now. You can take baby Thor and do all this fun, crazy redneck stuff. And
yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And especially now with a lot of these restrictions and limits being lifted. So today, for the first time in months, I was able to go to my own local church, and I did not have to wear a mask, and it was a beautiful thing. It's just it's amazing how just being able to go to mass without a mask on, it's just so amazing. It's so nice. And, it's one of those things where there were people who weren't wearing it. As soon as the county-wide mandate lifted, people were starting to go. But I remember how the priest, who I really like, who's the pastor there, had gotten in a lot of trouble with the bishop. And a lot of it was because of these different things going on. And so it's like, well, I don't want to get him in trouble. So it was a way of me saying, okay, I'll make it as I'll wear it as a sacrifice, to try and and be there to support this really awesome, legit priest who is having to deal with a lot of craziness. And because typically I would not wear one if I didn't have to, but it was very nice. But Laura, thank you for joining us, as always.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
I guess one positive, because I have gone through so much crap and harassment because I can't wear them no matter what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And even trying to fight with doctors and stuff, it's always been horrible in this state. They actually did pass 2 days ago a law where the state's saying these cities can't start forcing people to wear them more and stuff, and you have to step back the regulations on it.
Yes. So
it's going to be eased back the next couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are some states that are finally starting to step up and do stuff. I know that there's a couple of state legislatures that have passed laws that have put limits. I think even Pennsylvania passed laws recently to put limitations on what the governor can do with emergency powers. And it's like, I mean, I guess better late than never, but, it's just, and I just saw this news story before we went live, talking about, about the virus, and it's Dr. Fauci talking again. He's saying, I think that there's a chance that this wasn't a natural occurring virus. And I think that there should be an investigation. I'm like, oh, really? Do you now?
Oh, Dr. Pretorius, you just... Oh my gosh. Pull up a picture of Dr. Pretorius from the original Bride of Frankenstein and see if he doesn't look like Fauci.
I'll have to take your word for it, because I got to get to a couple of these super chats. So Roger H, thank you for the Canadian $2 super sticker. And it was a thumbs up. Roger H, thank you very much. Sorry it took me a while to get to it. But as you all know, it's Chosen stream, and the Chosen get the straight love and attention and full focus today. And then we have Huron the Steadfast. Thank you for a Canadian $5 super chat saying, we need 8 days of rain. Our pastures are not growing. Dugouts and wells are scary low. Okay, so I don't know if Huron is from Texas and is saying that they needed the rain because of that, or if where he is, they need that kind of rain for those reasons. I'm not sure, but thank you both. And also, shout out to Washington Mendranda, who I wasn't able to shout out last night because of everything going on, but he is a newer Patreon member, and he joined just a couple days ago. So thank you very much for joining, and I'll try and add you to the May shout-outs at the very end. Huron is Canadian. I should have made that connection when I said Canadian $5. And now I am the fool. Before going down the line, seeing what people have been watching and reading and just anything that they want to talk about, really, let's say hello to some people who are active in the chat. And again, apologies that we were not able to get all this stuff last night going, but Rosie G12 was here right at the very beginning, around 2. The new number 2, Dean Heiss, said, I already had an Odyssey account, just didn't really use it much until last night. Yeah, I know that some people said it was fine, some people said that it wasn't. And again, apologies to anyone who is watching on Odyssey right now because they couldn't hear The Chosen for the very beginning because I didn't have the desktop audio on in the setup that I have, which I still am amazed that it works at all. That's why when last night happened, I was like, what did I do? Everything was working great. What is going on? Rob D's been in the chat. GMonkey76 in the chat. Of course, we got Tina B, Stephanie B. Thank you for being here. And she says, hey, Chief, let's do it live. Exactly. Let's do it live. That's how I was feeling last night. I was like, let's just do it. And I was, channeling my inner younger Bill O'Reilly, saying things internally that I was not saying out loud. But it was essentially that. And then she says, I'll have to dip out in a bit to teach. No problem at all, Steph. Again, I always appreciate you being in here at all on these Sundays. I know that you work, so hope you have some good classes. Infierter, who's a member, is here. Nathan Slay is here. Here in the Steadfast, who, again, had mentioned, who had super chatted earlier. Thank you for being here. The new number 2 is a member, says, we can really use some rain up here. So I'm assuming up here would also be Canadian, new number 2. I'm actually not quite sure if you're Canadian or not, new number 2, but I will assume that you are. Let's see, who else? Mike Jackson, Thanatos Felicitas, also here as well. Rosie G12 says, I'd love to live in Texas. My extended family are all looking to get out of here and looking hard at Texas and Florida. Yeah, it's kind of amazing. There's this mass exodus, or at least a desire to exodus to those states because they're the most open, the most free, and their case numbers are not that surprisingly low to non-existent. So it's almost as if there's seasonal illnesses or something. I don't know. But yeah, Rosie G12, I think a lot of people definitely feel that way as well. Laura, of course, is in the chat. Thank you for helping to mod today. Having some laptop issues. I hope that they are going better than they were at 212. So let's see who else. Golden Ration's here. What's going on, Golden Ration? Apologies that you had to go over to Odyssey last night. Bruce, what's going on, Bruce? New number 2 says, I had the same quarrel with Odyssey. Why do I have to create a channel to comment on a stream? Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I think it's because the only people typically who are using Odyssey are creators. So they just never even thought that people would start, would go over there. I guess they never made the connection. I honestly don't know what it is. Laura, though, great comment, says, my Odyssey channel is, quote, unmonetized dopamine clicks, end quote. It's a great name, Laura. It's a fantastic name. Rosie 12 says, Les Mis is pretty long. The play is long, so I can only imagine that the book is even longer. New number 2, imagine the audiobook of that book, the one that Tina was talking about. You would need a spare week and a half to get through the whole thing. Probably. Yeah, 4,000 pages? Yeah.
4,000 pages, yeah.
I would definitely take a lot longer to listen to than read for me, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Rosie 12 says, Solzhenitskins?
Oh, Solzhenitsyn.
Solzhenitsyn, Gulag Archipelago. Nonfiction. It's 3 books and really long, but a life-changing read. Nice. And I'm sure everyone's life was just changed by me having to struggle with that pronunciation of archipelago. I'm glad that Laura appreciated it. I heard you laughing. 70B says, Tina is a bookworm. Yes. And she's awesome. 70B then says, I need proper glasses. Do you need just those? Because she said that it was harder for her to read smaller print. So do you just need reading glasses? Or like actual glasses? Rosie said that she had to leave. Sorry and goodbye. Well, Rosie, thank you for being here. She says she'll be back on Tuesday. Laura then made a comment saying, I wish someone would make an audiobook of Heart of the Jedi. I would pay good money for that. I would not be surprised if that happens at some point. Because when you really think about it, there is, I think that there's such a high demand just for the book version that people who have the book, at least one of them will either themselves be a voice actor or know someone who's a voice actor or be willing to pony up for it and put out like an unofficial audiobook version of it. And that'd be really cool if they could actually do that. Rob D then said, X-Wing is only abridged. Shatterpoint is unabridged. Shatterpoint unabridged is coming. Yeah, I know that they said a lot of their older stories that were abridged previously are going to be unabridged. So that's nice. That's nice of them. It's nice of Disney to think of the... Ooh! Hashtag Duck Fisney.
Oh,
yep.
Wow. Somebody clip Owen slipping and saying, yeah, please.
That was a long time coming. And you know what? After last night, I apologize to anyone with children listening. As you all know, we.
Crap! I've gotten on air so many times.
Don't clip it, please. Don't clip it.
I'm just teasing.
Let's pretend like it never happened because I was trying to say Duck Fisney, and I had a brain fart. And Tina, there's 2 of you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tina in stereo.
Oh, wow.
There, I think that'll do it. I was on my phone.
There you go. You're good.
Okay, so I'm back on the Chromebook. It shut me out of
Okay.
Hangouts. So,
Oh,
my
no.
gosh! But of course, I immediately signed off. Heard you say that. I was like, oh my god!
Yep.
I can't let you live this down. I'm the one
I was doing so well.
Yeah.
For so long.
Now, if I had said it, yeah. Well, I don't know how to clip stuff, so
yeah.
I wouldn't actually do that to you. I would laugh if somebody actually did, though.
Oh, I'm sure someone will. And as long as they don't,
Jack going, this has to show up on Friday night time.
I sure hope not, because
I hope not either. Because
the last thing I need is any student or parent having that clipped and put everywher. Did you see what he said?
And if that shows up on Friday Night Tights,
let's just not even talk about it to not put ideas into people's minds. So
yeah, and
I will continue. I will continue.
I know where to bury the bodies, so just
oh,
look me up if anybody, if you find out anybody did that. Just give me a call. We'll talk.
Tina, that sounds like an offer.
I'll be in Tennessee here soon, so.
I can't.
I like how
I can't because I'm the one who usually swears on your air.
I love how now it's two of the chosen have basically said, "Hey, if you need me to kill somebody, I'll take care of it." Like that's what I've just heard.
I am not killing anyone for you.
Your people call my people.
Okay. All right. We'll get that. We'll get that going. We'll get that going.
Tina, I have if I could get with you later.
But we have to do it someplace where there's, no evidence. Hey, I saw Goodfellas.
I want to say the last time that I ever said that word publicly was back when people were being complete jerks with Anna and her sister. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. I remember.
That was the last time. Because I've said other words mistakenly before, but anyway. Then in number 2 says on Odyssey, we don't hear what everyone's saying. Yeah, so I fixed that. Will Gentry, hope you're doing great, good sir. Glad to see you back in the chat, and hopefully this is a good time. Let's see, the K-Man had mentioned about the WWE teaming up with them before. Mark 6336 is in the chat. Hail to you. The Honky Chonky Funky Monkey is in the chat as well. Welcome to you. Soul Extraction, who's a member. Hail to you. Eagle Rider, that of course is Rosetta Allen. Thank you again for being here. Eagle Rider says, all you Brits are troublemakers. Wow.
That was aimed at Will and Hunky while I'm messaging Richard. Let's be fair. Most of my friends are Brits.
But I like how you just paint them all with that same brush.
I do,
Brits.
all the time, right to their faces while I'm in chats with them.
Wow.
I mean,
wow. Those poor innocent Brits. They just
innocent. Will and Hunky are innocent.
In this case, yes. The K-Man says, I'll be glad to be somewhere that doesn't require a mask. Only place you don't have to is outside, and even then you look weird for not having one on. Yeah, the K-Man, dude, I feel the same way, and luckily the area that I'm in Chattanooga is starting slowly to have a basically back to normal, where you could just live your life and just be a person and not have to worry about anything. But restaurants, I think, will be one of the last places where that unfortunately where that finally goes away. New number 2 says all health orders, and then it jumped on me, so let me see if I can find that comment again. As new number 2 says, Northern Ohio. New number 2 also said all health orders are lifted on June 2nd. Nice. Very, very cool. And let me just catch up with everybody. That way we can go through the panel. Alan Sparks. That's a name I have not read in a while. Alan Sparks, welcome back. Welcome back, good sir. You came in just in time, it looks like. Pre-hindsight. What is going on? Evan S., hail to you. Glad to have you here. And there are the reactions to people. Dr. Blue Box 11, hail to you. Golden Ration, you'll know what it'll be. I hope it's not there. Keck 44, what's going on? Dr. Blue Box, thank you for saying it's okay, it happens. I appreciate that. Thank you for being a nice, sweet person about it, Dr. Blue Box. I appreciate it. As the Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey says, clipped XP. Ha ha ha. Ha ha, Hunky Chunky. Evan S., did you wear red to Mass today? I didn't. I don't typically dress for the liturgical seasons, but speaking of which, Blessed Pentecost Sunday to everyone.
Yes. Yes.
Robert Moobly is here. 70B. Yes, I feel that way as well. And yes, I will definitely clip it out later. Richard465, welcome to the chat. Hunker Chunky says, who on the panel is in a hot tub right now? Turn your camera and get Odin lots of donations. Well, if this was on Twitch, maybe you would have a point.
Oh, I'm going to interject since Richard did show up in the chat.
Yeah.
I told him to come say hi. Everyone send him some love. He's the one I was talking about that just lost his dad. He's a good supporter of the community. So
we'll definitely be sending thoughts and prayers your way, good sir. Thank you for stopping by. But Hunky Chunky said, I ain't innocent. Well, after that comment, yes, I can see why that is indeed a true statement.
Read his next statement.
It says, watch Rosetta's streams when I'm on them, or even just in the chat, and you'll see how, quote, innocent I am. That's very ominous of you.
No. He causes so much trouble in my streams, in my chat, and he comes on them quite often, and he is such a troublemaker. And that's why he keeps getting invited on them and why he's one of my wrenches. I like troublemakers.
But according to you, he's a troublemaker because he's British.
Yes, and Richard's a troublemaker, and Will sure is a troublemaker. Look at my inner circle.
So mean. Mike Jackson says, lock up the women and children. I'll be driving through Chattanooga on Tuesday. Nice. Yeah, we'll have our end of the year meetings this week, but we're off tomorrow, so I'm happy about that. And then Rob D says, just got the Star Wars Gambit duology and Coruscant Nights book trilogy. 22 away from the full Legends set. Nice. Ooh. How many are in the Legends set total? Laura, do you know that?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I was amazed that you thought I would.
Well, I know because I know how much you like the Legends novels.
I do.
So
no, there is a ridiculous number of books in the EU stuff.
Still, to be 22 away, something tells me that is really close when you break down the total number. Dadman Walk with the 5, welcome back. Glad to have you here. And we are now caught up in the chat. As Laura says, no hot tub. I don't want to be an Odin thought. Yes, we have a no thought policy here on the channel. So I will not be in a hot tub ever. Not only because that's not cool, but also because no one wants to see that. I don't want to see that.
You in a hot tub.
I'm gonna say I wouldn't want to see that, and I don't know who would, and I'd question anyone who would. Someone said 158 novels now with Heart of the Jedi in the Legends collection. So yeah, 22 away. That's very, very close. As Cold Ration says, a cold tub? No,
that would make more sense for girls because it would help them get more attention from the guys, if you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, let's just be honest. Like, I think even Young Rippa did a video or talked about it recently in a stream and then cut it into a video where he's like, let's just be honest here about why certain people on Twitch and other places get a lot of attention and donations. It's not because the content's necessarily good. It's for...
Oh, we all know it.
Yeah.
Women use their sex appeal to manipulate people. They always have. It goes back to biblical times. Look at some of the stuff that happened even then.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
We all know it.
That involves hot tubs. Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking more using sexuality to literally get people to kill people and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean...
Like Herod's, when you really break it down, Herod's niece.
Yeah.
Don't even want. Yeah, we read through the Gospel of Matthew with my kids for their junior year, and so when we got to that, I was like, "You see this person? Where do you remember this name from? So what does that make? Oh yeah," and then they're like, "Yeah, not." Not good. As Hunky Chunky says, no hot tub, but he wears the sexy Wookiee onesie. That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
And just picture me in that onesie just going, there's no business like show business. And that's going to get everyone excited. So.
Ick. Sorry.
All right. Anyway. Oh, no, trust me. I feel the same way. Let's go ahead and go down the line again. And does anyone, well, first off, is anyone having to leave? I know that Mr. Roy, I think you said that you have to leave a little early today.
A little early, but I can stay for a bit.
I don't know how long I'm staying yet. It depends on how well my move, so it's completely up in the air.
Okay. Anyone else with time constraints?
I need to get lunch situated here, so go ahead with everybody else, and I'll jump back in once I get everybody fed.
Cool. Perfect. As I said, that's why I call her the mom of the channel, because just look at it. It's like, I got to get everyone fed. I got to make sure it's like, it's perfect. Thank you, Laura, for being awesome. All right, let's go ahead and jump over to Rosetta. Rosetta, you've been watching anything recently? TV, movies, books, or you just want to talk about the projects that you have working on?
Well, mostly projects. Okay. It's the last few weeks I haven't been able to do a lot of stuff because I've been fighting to try to get testing done with doctors, which is really not fun considering what they're trying to test. So it's been really interesting. Spent about 2 weeks fighting constantly trying to get testing done because they think I'm developing Parkinson's. And while I'm fighting with that, I'm dealing with Richard. It's been an interesting few weeks. I haven't gotten to watch much of anything.
Have you been able to get lost in your work at least?
A few times. If I have a moment, I do it. The only thing I have recently was doing the drawing challenge from Campbell, which was redrawing the old black cat.
Nice.
So.
Very cool. Yeah, I just extended that for people to be able to see it a bit better. So that's awesome. Yeah. Nice. And then you also had mentioned beforehand you finally got, was it a PayPal setup so that you can start to get stuff ready for some of your campaigns?
I have my PayPal for a while. The one that I sent you is if anybody wants to help out Richard with funeral stuff and things for his mother.
Okay. I
had him get that set up.
Was that sent on? Yes.
It should be in the group chat on Discord.
Got it. Cool.
You might have to load it and get the full link because he sent the quick link, which doesn't always show up in the YouTube chats.
Yeah, because it also didn't show up as a link in.
Yeah, if you click it into a browser, it'll redirect to the full link, and then you just copy it off the board.
I think this will work. Let's see. No, it didn't. No. But you can copy and paste. You can copy and paste that, and that will bring you to it. And I'll go ahead and open it up in another location, and then I will post it again and see if that works. So if anyone wants there you go. So that is a link. So once again, Rosetta is trying to help out. So Richard, who is a fan of many communities. And is very supportive of many communities. His father passed away, and so Rosetta's trying to help out whatever way that she can. And so one way that if you want to help out is to donate what you can, if you can donate anything. And thank you, Rosetta, as always, for always being very supportive of other people.
Could, if you have a few minutes, I could actually give you a screen share and show you a couple of the things I've been doing with the Eagle book.
Absolutely. I'm going to post that actually right now in the chat.
So a sec. It takes just a minute here. So
yeah.
Let's yammer a sec while I get that loaded.
Absolutely. So this
almost done building the art room, which is where we're going to move everything. When we relocate and stuff, my husband got things to install more memory and this and that, a second computer, because it does eat up my memory really hard doing the book, which is making it slower.
What software program do you use for it?
It's actually Artisan. And it actually works really well. It's designed to do professional style books, digital scrapbook and stuff. It gives you where the bleed edge is, everything. It tells you everything just simple and easy. So it's been really helpful, and my husband found it for me.
Okay.
One moment here.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to support the campaign, you can go to that link. So again, it's an Indiegogo campaign. You can sign up for notifications on the campaign when it eventually goes live. And if you also sign up, as it says there, you will get a free signed printing of Spirit the Eagle with that signing up. So if you are interested in photography, if you're interested in animal photography, specifically in this case with eagles, then you will have. So with the actual book itself, because I don't know how far because I know it's a project that you've been working on passionately for a while. Is it gonna just be the collections of photos, or is it gonna have like information about the birds as well? Or
let's make this easy and do this real quick.
For sure.
It actually will have information on it, and they have the different shots and stuff. If it wants to actually, it's being a little weird on this. I told it to share. It's trying to, but it's confusing itself. Apparently.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's.
I had this too small, anyways, and it wasn't reading the enter button.
Okay,
so
there
it's
it is.
a stubborn thing. It is. But
very nice.
You'll actually see where on the pages it has not just the photos, but information on where and when it was taken. Backgrounds are all designed out of colors taken out of the photos on that page and stuff. So doing this all myself has been a lot of work.
Yeah, it looks really great though.
Yeah, so it's...
And I can see what you mean. Yeah, I can see it's like, load! Just load!
But you see, it actually tells you where the trim line, safe zone, bleed areas, all that are, where the book line for the seam and stuff need to be. It'll help you outline everything. It'll tell you when things overlap, which you can allow, but it'll tell you so you know that.
Yeah.
It is a really handy program. It really does work really well. And when we talk about the Prince of Spirit, which are down here more, if you give you a glimpse of this.
Yeah.
And how much there really is here. And there's like full page here, which is the Decoran nest with the baby sitting in it in the sunlight.
Okay. It's good just to have the visualization, and that there's going to also be text to support it as well.
This little section here are the ones of Spirit. And last I checked, she's still around. She's about to turn 36 or just did.
Oh, wow.
She's now in the top 5 oldest eagles left in the world.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. What is a typical lifespan for an eagle?
In the wild, they don't usually live over 20. In captivity, they don't usually live over 30.
Okay.
So she is quite beyond the normal. I've got ones here, like I actually took this one in the San Diego Zoo when I was hanging out with freaking Kennel.
Nice.
And that's a buzzard eagle and Java's hawk eagle and those. And then the bottlers are my favorite because I love
I say that's a beautiful bird. Yeah.
Bottlers are like a
look at that red face.
Painted songbird version of an eagle, and they're from Africa, and the colors on them are just insane.
Nice. And these were all captured by Rosetta, for anyone wondering.
There are a couple pictures as exceptions that are going to be on this one and the alternate version of the book, which were actually taken by my husband.
Nice.
My favorite one taken by my husband, and the one that I give him so much credit for, is going to be in the extra alternate version of the book for the higher tiers.
Okay.
And it's just because of the angle he got on the face.
Is it this one right here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And that was actually taken by Steve out at the zoo in San Diego and Cali.
Nice.
So that's, I know everyone's seen that I've been doing this for a long time. Part of why I've spent a long time is I have about, the ones I went through to pick the favorites for these 2 books were, I had about 20,000 eagle pictures between those. I have more since then, but those aren't going to be in these 2. So.
Oh my goodness. So you said 20,000 total photos?
Yeah, it's actually probably closer to 30 now over this year. I've got some really interesting shots this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very devoted to the photo work and my nature work.
Nice. Well, that looks awesome. And I think also it helps to because it's not just about, you know, getting the photos and then putting them into a book. You're also, you know, building the book itself by yourself, and all of the textual elements to it as well. And as you mentioned, your computer, it's because of the RAM potentially.
Yeah, this is an old computer, and I've got a lot of stuff I run on it. And it is my husband's going to rebuild it some and get me a secondary, and
Okay.
I'm going to have one of the laptops set up with it. I'm going to actually have a long desk that's going to stretch with several computers and workstations. So
Nice.
we're almost to having the art room ready for that. We've got to order a few more supplies for the flooring and the wall, but
Yeah.
it was literally for almost a decade. It was a storeroom when all the medical stuff happened. We just started putting all my art supplies in bins in there until it actually was full to the ceiling. And I've been going through every bin and everything in that room piece by piece and emptying it out to make a new studio. So it's been a long process.
Yeah. And actually, we talking about the new setup coming up. It reminds me, you know, this computer, y'all will see it a little bit more delayed. But this yoga computer, this is the computer that I started the YouTube channel with 3 years ago. And it was amazing when I was able to upgrade this because of the generosity and love of the members of the channel and all the supporters to build the PC that I use for all these streams, and how night and day it was. Because even though, like, at the time, this was, you know, a very fast computer and it was able to handle streaming and handle editing videos, I mean, it took a while. It took sometimes 45 minutes, an hour to render just even like a 7-minute 1080p video. And because of the generosity of the people on the channel, now with the machine I have, it's like I can get an hour plus long in, you know, 1080p video in like just a few minutes. And so I'm very excited for when you get your full setup, because it's just, I just know you're going to be like, oh, I can actually, this is what it's like to actually be able to do the work and to be able to actually, like, you know, have it flow and have it actually, have everything work.
It's
you know,
insane work goes into a photo book, because getting those kinds of photos, especially of lesser photographed things for most people, there's daily drives, there's hikes, there's mountain exploring, there's all this stuff, there's travel. Every few pictures, there's so much work and so many attempts and so much searching to get the perfect shot and the perfect time. And then you add that, and you go, and now you have to sort all the photos that were taken in those months, and you have to figure out exactly which are which, and you have to pick the favorite shots, and you have to get those laid out, named, titled, organized in folders, pick which ones you want on which page. Then you can do the rest.
Yeah.
And I started looking it up and figuring it out, and they said for the average photo book, there is not counting final printing, there's about a staff of 30 to make it.
Wow.
Because of how many different stages there are and how much work goes into each stage, including making backgrounds, filling out detail information, all that stuff. And
well, also because you're dealing with very high quality photos, and you know, typically how large is like the size of one of those, the file size of one of those photos?
Oh god, they're pretty decently big. I actually have a couple of giant hard drives full of photos that I use.
Yeah.
I got a special on the site that you can use for making like photo videos and collages and stuff, and they had a special running for a lifetime membership on sale for almost nothing at the time, and it includes unlimited cloud storage for life.
Oh wow.
At the tier that I got on sale.
Oh yeah.
So I've been slowly backing up the best pictures from each group from the last few years.
Oh yeah.
Just add a few into that thing.
And I bet you have it uploaded several places.
It's just because an actual full storage is, you want that just in case anything ever happens.
Oh, for sure.
It's been 3.5 years now I've been doing this.
Yeah.
Photography work. Well,
yeah, I mean, because anytime you're working in any of the medias, right? If you're working with video, photo, audio, I'm sure the K-Man can relate to this as well, because he is a musician. You know, you always want to have as many backups as you possibly can, because you know, redundancy is a very important thing. Because if you have, especially something you put your heart and soul into, you put hours and hours of work into, and then just one little thing causes it to get corrupted, or you know, something out of your control. You know, I remember, you know, earlier on, I didn't have that full understanding, and so there were times where, you know, there was some error that would happen and I would lose entire, I would do like a 30-minute podcast or something, and then all of a sudden I realized, oh, the audio wasn't recording. What is that? So it's just things like that you don't really ever consider.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
It's amazing because I never realized, because the photography itself is a full-time job, and it's mostly hiking, exploring, and driving into the middle of nowhere and stuff. It's not light work anyway.
Oh yeah. And I mean, because as you said, you're dealing with wild animals here, and even with domesticated animals, if anyone has ever had a dog or a cat, even if they're well trained, that they don't always do what you want them to do. And so, yeah, to get all the photos, especially of eagles, of I think especially with with birds in general, they're probably some of the harder ones to capture.
I've got one of the photos, and it's a little gruesome because it's nature and its finest, but it's literally the eagle ripping apart and eating the deer it just killed with the wings fully expanded, standing on top of it.
I remember you showed that on a previous stream. Yeah.
Those kinds of shots, the ability to get those shots, there's so much exploration to find that one place at that one moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't know why. Sorry.
Usually by the time I'm on these streams or I'm talking to people in the afternoon, I've been up 7-8 hours hiking and driving and exploring. So. Yeah.
I don't know why, but when talking about like how difficult it is to get the shot, as Golden Ration says, training a cat, forget about it. That's very true. They're very self-sufficient. And but have you ever seen the film The Secret Life of Walter Mitty? The remake.
I don't think so.
With Ben Stiller. It's actually a really good movie, and in my opinion, it's the only film that I can actually stand Kristen Wiig in. Which is a huge kudos to Ben Stiller's direction there for giving her a direction and to be able to make her actually likable. And in it, though, one of the characters who's played by another actor is a photographer and is known for sending these really great shots to use on the cover of I think it was Life magazine or something. And so it's like they're getting ready their last issue, and they're trying to find this footage because there was this perfect shot that was on the roll that they can't find. And so he ends up going on this journey trying to find this photographer who's, like you said, going out on journeys, going out on hikes, going out to all these different locations. And what's great is when he finally finds him, it's almost by mistake because he's literally just on a mountain laying down with his camera, and he's looking at this one specific animal that has been notoriously hard to photograph. And then the guy's just like, he's like, what are you doing? Like, you're ruining my shot. Like, it's like this really funny moment. And but the fact is, like, he was sitting there for like hours and hours just to be in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. And so it makes a lot of sense as to why the project is taking as long as it is, not just because of having to put everything together, but just to get the shots themselves.
Yeah. And then the storm last year did so much damage to this area. I was out for months where I couldn't work on it, and then dealing with the medical and stuff has delayed it, and it's been a labor trying to get it done, but I'm not giving up. It's going to get done. Mm-hmm. And I'm determined on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's mostly done.
Yeah,
both books are completely designed, laid out, the backgrounds are done, and most of the information on the first book is filled out.
Nice. Yeah, because just looking at what you were showing, I was like, this looks like it's mostly done as far as the overall design is concerned, and probably just needs to go through one of those typical things where you go through it, you make sure, you double check, and then you have maybe someone else look over it just to always good to have that fresh pair of eyes looking at it.
I'm going to finish the information filling out in the first book in the next couple weeks, go back over it, proofread myself, and then have somebody else proofread it. And then I'm going to actually talk to a few places and have them do a test printing of how they could do it. So
nice.
It is actually getting to that point where I'm getting close to being able to actually have a printed copy in my hand that I can print. But I want that copy, and I want to know what it's going to cost per book before I go on campaign. So
absolutely, which is how it should be, and that's all I'll say about that. Others would, I think, be well served in following that same style. trajectory. That's not the word I'm looking for.
Plan of action.
Plan of action. There we go. That's a better expression for it. So awesome. Well, yeah, it looks fantastic. So once again, everybody, if you want to sign up to learn more about the project that she's working on, that she was able to show us, that Rosetta's been working very hard at, the link is in the chat. So sign up for the Indiegogo campaign. And right now, it's just to sign up for the email list. And then you will, if you sign up for the email list, get access to exclusives that will not be available to those once the campaign is actually live. So Rosetta, thank you for sharing that with us. Anything else as far as content or projects that you wanted to talk about?
Well, one great moment that came out of that, I actually did sell some of the original drawings and stuff over with Peter Samedi on his auction a couple weeks ago, and actually went the first original of mine to sell that wasn't commissioned by somebody but just sold because somebody wanted it was actually the hand-done version of the picture of Spirit that I did, which is actually going to be one of the bonuses in the campaign, is going to be the artwork I did.
Nice.
So that actually has sold and actually been shipped and received. So
that's awesome. Yeah, my because my wife does art, more so nowadays for fun. And I remember the first time she had a piece that she did for an art auction, and to see her go there, and it was like one of these in place. And so you walk around and see all these art pieces, all of these different, like, it was also more stuff than just art. There were like packages that you could put money into. It was like a fundraiser though, to, you know, you put like you'd put a bet down, or not a bet. What's the word for it? I guess it would be a bet, would be a same way of doing it, but you're putting it in, and then people can walk around and put a higher bet, like to put a higher number down, you know, as you're going through the process. And so when she saw that her painting went for just even like, I think it went for well over $100, she was just like, I can't, it was just that moment. So I remember the feeling that she had when that happened for her. And so that's awesome that you were able to experience the same thing.
It's one thing to have somebody hire you for a commission and you do the piece knowing they're paying you for it and stuff like that, because they know your style. They're specifically wanting you to do a certain drawing, versus somebody sees something you did just out of your passion, out of your heart, and says, I like what you did so much, I want it. It's like that next level.
Absolutely. Yeah, because as you said, right, to do something because you're asked to do it and you're fulfilling, you know, an order basically, is very different than you do something that you love, you do something that you're passionate about, and then someone says, I want that. And you're just like, thank you. That's awesome. So I, again, very happy that was something that was able to happen with this project. Anything else? Floor is yours.
Art girl, right?
What was that?
So no, the biggest thing on that is, and where did he put those? Oh, there is one crazy thing to note on this pinup book. I have actually had several people put in submissions at this point. There will be a set of them that's actually based on me in this book.
Fun. Sounds scary too, a little bit, because if someone said, I'm going to draw you into, I'd be like,
It was kind of a mixed idea, because most of the people who know me know that I avoided cameras a lot when I was younger and skinnier and the wrestler and stuff, because of what I was going through with people and the abuse stuff. So it's kind of a way to take back the fear I had back then, and also have something that represents when I was healthier like that before all the meds.
That's awesome, though. So that is something also, is that something that anyone can follow anything to support, or?
Right now, the only way they can really help with that is to donate to my PayPal, because it's going to just go straight up for sale on different sites when it's finished.
Okay.
Because I want it to be easy for them to just straight up send the money from that right off into the military charities. And so I don't want just to have a run and be done. I want it to, where my husband's trying to set it up so I'll be able to have it on Amazon and Lulu and all those, and then they'll just be able to buy it directly and have half of each sale go straight to military charities.
Nice. That's awesome. So yeah, for anyone that has
I was gonna send you that
Yeah.
link, but my computer's being a little laggy. Give me just a moment.
That's fine. But yeah, just for as you get the link ready, for anyone else who doesn't know or hasn't been on and watched these streams before, you know, when she's talking about the pinups, so she and there's a couple other artists, I believe, right, who are working together.
A bunch of artists at this point. I've got Vic King from over in CG, and Kevin Drew, some Hex Allen, a bunch of different people in CG and different comic communities around and stuff. Even like Yitzy Lemon, who does a lot of the stuff with the Trek and fandom communities and stuff like that, are all drawing these for me. And I've got like 15 different artists and folders that all drew a set of pinups at this point that I have to color for this. So it's been really intense in a lot of ways, but it's just crazy too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
But I was going to say, it's for those that don't know, the money that she's raising with those sales is going to help support the military and specifically helping veterans. So
yeah, right now selling the artwork pieces is being used specifically to fund paying the artists who are helping me do the book, or the other pieces that aren't military pieces that I've been selling have been being used to fund surgeries for my cat who had severe cystic condition, and she still got a few more surgeries down the road yet.
Yeah.
So that's what my funding's been going to when I get it.
Yeah.
Military and pet care.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing both those projects.
Yeah,
and
that link should be in Discord now.
Okay, cool. So if you would like to help to support Rosetta, to help support the work that she's doing, for either, I mean, I guess they could just specify in their donation what they want it to go to. So let me just open it up so that way I can actually copy and paste it. So if you want to support Rosetta and her work, please check out the link as it is being posted right about now. There it is. So there's the PayPal link to help support Rosetta. And Rosetta, you're awesome.
Aw. And then I'm trying to listen to you still, and my husband didn't want to leave without getting a hug and kiss first. So.
Oh, that was so sweet. I saw that. Well, thank you. Yeah. Thank you as always for being here and for continuing to support. And so please, everyone, send your love and support to Rosetta, whatever you can. Awesome. Anything else before we move to Mr. Roy?
I think that's it. It's just same as always. It's always art projects and charity work when I'm here.
Nice. Yeah. I love it. Thank you very much. Mr. Roy, what you been watching recently?
I watched Mad Max for the first time.
Ooh, the original Mad Max.
Yeah.
Oh, what were your thoughts?
It's weird.
Yeah, I would agree. That's actually a perfect word for that series. And rather for that specific movie.
Yeah, it's a really weird film. I looked it up. I was like, yeah, it's made by a bunch of crazy Australian people. Yeah, it's a weird film.
Yeah, I actually, when people ask about the series and rankings and stuff, I actually didn't like the original a whole lot because of how weird and bizarre it is. Road Warrior is like awesome. Like it's actually a movie. It's actually like a legit, great, well-made, well-written film. Whereas the first one, I'm just like, oh, I don't know how to feel. Again, weird is a great description of that first one.
Yeah, I've not seen any of these films. I'm going through them one by one.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about to start the second one. I heard there's 4 of them, right?
Yes, yeah, because there's the 3 originals, and then there is the I guess reboot. I guess reboot would be the best word for it. That they were able to do with Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend it. I mean, if you want to watch a bizarre post-apocalyptic film made in Australia, I recommend it.
If that description is something that entices anyone, please let me know who you are, because that is just, yeah. If you like weird movies from Australia, other than Mr. Peabody, I probably couldn't think of anyone else who might say that would be enough to sell. But no, it is completely inaccurate. And I think that when you do see next Road Warrior, you're gonna say, "Oh, okay, I'm fine now." Because like I felt the same way where I saw the first one, and it was after everyone had said so many amazing things about the Mad Max movies, and I was just like, I don't get it. I don't get it after the first one. And then you watch Road Warrior, and you're like, okay, now it makes sense. And then you watch Beyond Thunderdome, and you're like, ooh, this is also a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Awesome. What else have you been watching?
I watched the Night Stalker documentary from Netflix.
Night Stalker.
Yeah, they have a documentary feature on Netflix that came out this year.
Okay.
Actually, really good. It mostly focused on the actual investigation of trying to capture the Night Stalker. It has interviews with the actual investigators, and yeah, I highly recommend it.
Okay. And as someone who doesn't know as much about like the Nights, like that's based off of an actual like real life event. Is the Nights, because as someone just who's kind of clueless on that, is should I know who the Night Stalker is? Or
he is a serial killer that terrorized L.A. and San Francisco during the mid '80s.
Well, it happened during the '80s, so that would explain why I didn't know about it. Even things in real life.
He strikes again, huh?
Is it whether it's a movie or whether it's something happening in real life?
He would sneak into houses and rape and shoot people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh no. Is the series you think a good like understanding of just the psychology? So does it take it from the Night Stalker's perspective, or like how does the story told?
It's told from the police perspective. It's very little glorification of the Night Stalker, which is what I really like. I don't like when I watch something and it's mostly about the killer and his past and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's 4 episodes and they basically don't say really anything about the Night Stalker until like the 4th episode, which was the last one. Yeah, it's very little about the Night Stalker. It doesn't really glorify him at all. The reason why he's so popular is because he was very satanic. He was into Satan worshiping and crap. He left that kind of stuff in his crime scenes.
Okay.
And when he got arrested and stuff, he had followers for some strange reason. During his trial, the women used to hang around and worship him and crap.
Well, the mention of Satanism makes a lot more sense as to why that would have happened. That actually makes a lot of sense.
It's really creepy considering that the dude was actually a pedophile. It's really creepy.
I know. And you think about like all these different people who've existed throughout history who have done these various things. And it's just amazing how these people, like as crazy as they are, can get people to follow them, believe in them.
Supporters, yes.
Yeah, it's truly bizarre to think about.
Especially the amount of women that fan club after and idolize serial killers who seek out and kill women.
Yeah.
It's like, girl, what's wrong with you in your head?
Yeah. It's like, go ahead.
Yeah, what's cool about the documentary too, when they tell that part, they tell it from the perspective of the family members that had to deal with that crap. You never actually see them actually interview the actual crazy people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really well put together.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So Night Stalker series. So you said it's just 4 episodes. So is it meant to be like a limited series where it's just the 4, or are they going to do another season?
No, it's just 4 episodes. It's called Night Stalker: The Hunt for the Serial Killer.
Okay. So is it kind of like a documentary style then?
Yeah, it's 4 episode, 1 hour each documentary series.
Okay. Nice. Tina, you were about to say something?
No. I was just going to say, yeah, that's a good, well, quote unquote, good case. So.
In what way a good case?
Well, it's just one of those that, when I went through homicide investigation school, that's one of those that they throw out there.
So it's one of those, like, it's like a by the book, like it's a good to see how to handle certain situations case.
Yeah, and there's another one, Mr. Roy. I don't know if you remember this one or not. The Green River Killer. I think he was up
Yeah,
in
yes.
Washington or Oregon.
It's actually in the same area. So
And yeah,
the main investigator that investigated the Night Stalker case also did the other one also.
oh my
It is
God.
brought up during this documentary.
Oh wow. Yeah, those are those cases they, especially like Ted Bundy, that they bring up in homicide classes, and you see the scene pictures and everything, and it's just some of that stuff that civilians they really ought not to ever see.
Yeah.
So
But then again, Mr. Roy was talking about how they develop these cult fan followings, and
they do.
Bundy was one of them because people
Yes.
thought he was an attractive guy, and so they're like, oh, he seems so nice.
Yep.
That's
Exactly.
really strange.
Yeah.
Yep. The Menendez brothers. I think both of them got married. Two members of their fan club. It's like,
Wow.
we love you. We don't care if you killed your parents.
Wow. Yeah, imagine having like a conversation with parents if they do have any parents. It's just like, hey, yeah, I'm getting married to this person. You mean the serial killer?
Yeah. This is my son-in-law. He murdered his parents.
It's like, no, thank you for that. No, thank you. Oh Lord, yeah. Well, Gentry, women love a bad boy, even if he's so bad he kills. It's sad though that there's some truth to that. It's just interesting how obviously that's taking it to the complete extreme, right? The whole bad boys mentality to the complete extreme of that person, killing and stuff like that. But it is something that is, again, it's this fascinating psychological impact that for some reason does draw some people in.
Yeah.
I would say that there's probably, you could actually see something similar, I would say, also with psychotic women too. Like there's these cases of these women who like kill their children and stuff, and then they put the picture out there, and then there's people who are like, oh, well, it's terrible what she did, but she looks really nice, or she's hot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, drives me crazy. Both sides do it, and it drives me nuts. And I hate it. So, Mr. Roy, so 4-episode docuseries on Netflix, Night Stalker. Anything else?
Watch The Happening.
Yes. Go on. My ears just perked up. My ears just perked up. Go ahead and talk about The Happening.
It's hilarious. I don't have much to say about other people.
What is your favorite part?
The scene where he goes up to the house, them kids. I don't know. There's so many good parts of that movie.
The old lady scene.
The old lady scene. Oh my god.
That gets me every time. Are you gonna? It's like you come to kill me in my sleep. What? No.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, you're going to do this. It's like, no, ma'am, we're not. Oh, the acting by Mark Wahlberg in that movie is just top notch. So you don't have much to say about The Happening.
They go up to that house and them kids just out of nowhere just start acting like asses, and then the guy just out of nowhere just shoots them.
I know, it's like, what?
Even when the second kid gets shot, the guy immediately just sticks the barrel of the gun out the window.
I know, it's like, what?
Is that the Killer Wind one with the trees are killing people with the wind or something?
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So somehow the trees and plants, the earth has evolved to be able to fight back against humanity.
The script of the movie is originally called The Green Effect.
I kind of wish it had kept that name, because that would make it even better. I wonder if in other countries, sometimes films have different names in different countries. I wonder if some countries it kept that name of The Green Effect.
I don't know.
And I bet they were like, I think this gives too much of the plot away, calling it the green effect. Let's just call it the happening. Which the whole time I'm like, maybe I'm missing something. Does anyone know why the happening was chosen as the name for the movie?
I don't.
Because something was happening? Like it's just like, hey, well, we can't call it the green effect. That's going to give the plot away. Oh, what else can we name it? Well, something's happening and they can't explain it until the end, so let's just call it the happening. Oh, that's brilliant. Lord.
Mr. Roy, it's
Yes.
so funny that you brought up the happening because I also saw a Mark Wahlberg movie that I'm going to discuss, and it sure as hell wasn't the happening.
So what you're saying is that it's not going to be anywhere close to being as good as the happening,
Oh my God, no.
since it's not the happening.
Mm-mm. And what's so funny is that he apologizes for the movie that I looked at, and I'm like, no, Mark, you should apologize for being in the happening.
You know what, though? I will say there's got to be something. There is something I think worthy of commending for an actor who won't even apologize for bad movies. They're just like, no, it's a career choice I made, and it's a movie that exists, and it makes some people happy. So you know what? It is what it is. Like every now and then you'll have, obviously there's a lot of actors who will say, oh, I regret this, and I'm very sorry for this or for that role. But hey, if he's going to be there, like I bet if you asked Nicolas Cage about The Wicker Man, he would probably, I don't know if he has said anything about it, but I bet if you were to ask him, he'd be like, you got a problem? Like he's probably very proud of that film. I wouldn't be surprised. Killing me won't bring back your damn honey. How to get burned? How to get burned? Oh, and then you got the happening. No, what? No, ma'am, we're not. One of the best skits in modern SNL history, which there aren't many, but one of the best ones I think was it Andy Samberg who did Mark Wahlberg talking to animals. That was the best. That was the best skit that. Yeah, so they just acted like, and then it's just like, "Hey, dog, how's it going? Oh, that's really cool. Say hi to your mother for me. Say hi to your mother for me. Yeah, hi, doggy. How's it going?
Hi, doggy.
Oh, I love Mark Wahlberg. Ah, so good, so good.
It's so funny we're looking at Mark Wahlberg movies.
I know, right? Mr. Roy, were you able to watch anything else?
That's pretty much it. I tried to watch the Star Wars Disney films and gave up.
Oh, so like starting with Force Awakens?
Yeah, I got through Force Awakens. It's a lot more boring than I remembered.
To be honest, yeah, I haven't watched that in.
Yeah,
since it
I
came
haven't
out.
seen it since. I'd seen it since theaters, and once you know where these characters are going, it's really boring. I actually had this. I fell asleep and then I had to rewind.
I like how though you fell asleep, but then you felt the need to go back and be like, "Oh, maybe I missed something that will be more interesting," and then you're like, "Nope, no, I didn't."
And, I got to the Last Jedi and made it to the Rose Tico introduction scene. Gave up. So it's like, oh, I don't want to watch this casino side quest mission where they save horses.
Oh, the bad CGI horses. And then all of a sudden they're just like, yeah, we did something good or we did something right. And you're like, okay, that was a waste of our time. Thank you, Canto Bite.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got all those poor kids now. They got to clean up all that crap that they messed up.
Seriously. Well, it was all to set up Broom Boy, because, Broom Boy's going to come back at some point, right? In that eventual Rian Johnson trilogy, which, I will say this much. To be honest, it would not surprise me at all if Disney did eventually, okay that and go ahead with it. But
I hope they do.
But if they do, I hope it's a Broom Boy trilogy. Because if it is a Broom Boy...
Can you imagine the kid who played Broom Boy? He's probably like, this is my shot. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, wait, everybody hates this movie?
Oh, it would be... And I hate to put it that way, but it would be the... what was the poor kid's name?
Oh, Jake Lloyd.
Jake Lloyd. It would be Jake Lloyd all over again.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
And I wouldn't wish that on anybody, because that poor kid went through so much that it messed him up for life.
Yeah. He's in bad shape.
Yeah. And so, so if he does Broom Boy, I hope it's like an older Broom Boy with an older actor who could handle that kind of thing. Because, if he tries to bring in a kid actor, the same kid even, I guess at this point the kid might be older to be able to handle it. But, no, thank you. So you got to just, when you mentioned that, you got to the Rose Tico part of her introduction. That's very early on in that movie. So, needless to say, you didn't make it very far.
I didn't almost think it past the Lord Bernstein in the freaking Leia Mary Poppins scene.
Yeah,
even when I watched it the first time, the Leia Flight scene, I was like, what am I watching? Oh my God.
Oh yeah. I at that point in the theater remember looking around and being like, am I the only one that's like wondering what the heck is going on right now? And like every person on their face was like, what? Like, because and I feel like it started off like she, people, she was in space, and so it was like started off with this, like, some were sad because they're like, okay, this is how the character dies, and then there were others who were like, oh, maybe something will happen. And then, like, when things started to happen, there were some people who were like, oh, this is awesome. Like, because they were like, oh, she has the Force powers. This is great. And then when she starts flying, they were like, oh, it's not as awesome anymore. It's like, it started off and then, oh, no.
Yeah, I did a similar reaction. People laughed in my theater, too. I was looking around. It was like half the people in the theater were looking around also. The other half were laughing at it.
The best experience, though, in the Disney era Star Wars, though, when I actually got to see Rise of Skywalker early, thanks to John Flickinger, and I remember me and him were next to each other, and it was the scene, it was the scene when the deadly kiss happens at the end between, So Rey and Kylo kiss, and then Kylo dies, and we just started cracking. Like, we were just laughing hysterically because we're like, she just killed him with the kiss.
Kiss of death.
The kiss of death. Oh, it was so much fun. There were so many other parts of that film where we were just laughing, but that one especially, we're like, oh my gosh, this is so bad.
Yeah, I tried to rewatch that one too, and I made it to the when Rey was floating around the rocks and gave up.
Oh yeah, when she became the Jedi Master with no training.
Like, I can't feel the.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, in my theater, when Rey held up the dagger to the horizon and was like trying to find the spot on the Death Star with the dagger. Yeah, the whole theater busted out laughing.
This is why I'm glad that I couldn't watch it because of the seizures flashing.
Yeah.
Honestly, why the hell would I want to put myself through this? It's bad enough that I literally wanted to rip my ears and eyes off after watching the one before it. Why would I want to watch the next one?
And also, too, like, when, talking about that scene specifically, yeah, I remember... I think that's another scene where me and John were just like, this doesn't make any sense. How would this ancient blade somehow magically be able to mark up with these fallen space? Like, this doesn't make any sense. We were like, this is just laziness in the writing. And yeah, that's
J.J. Abrams writing. You're just supposed to just don't think about it. Just let it happen.
Yeah.
Just remember, all it takes to be J.J. Abrams and in special effects or anything else is to just do this a lot and make a lot of lens flare and pretend there's a plot hidden in all the ugly. That's it.
and then have the Access Media come out and defend you and give you all that.
Chill.
And I will say this much though, it's not completely J.J. Abrams' fault, because Chris Terrio was also a writer. And even though he has done films like Argo, which I thought was very well written, before he did Rise of Skywalker, the two films in his repertoire were BVS, Batman v Superman, and Justice League. And that would have been the Justice League done by, I assume that was the one that was done by Joss Whedon that he wrote. So we should have seen. And also, apparently, here's a fun fact. Apparently, it's been announced that he's going to do the screenplay for Justice League Part 2.
Wait a minute, there's a... What?
Apparently.
Will in chat telling people, watch it for the same reason I did, for the lulls.
For the lulls.
I can watch bad horror movies and get the lulls, and I'm not going to give myself a seizure.
Yeah.
And I can sit there and pause those things for 8 hours, making fun of every character every time somebody dies. I'll have fun. I might be a little sarcastic and snarky.
It's okay. That's what we come. No, that's a good thing. Snarkiness is fun. It's like fezzes are cool. Snarkiness is fun. Soul Assassin says J.J. Abrams is starting a gaming company. Oh, well.
Wonder who he's gonna steal that from.
Get ready for lens flares in your video games now, everybody.
Yeah, because that's not going to make it harder to play the game if all of a sudden there's lens flares going off and you can't see your character, right?
Yeah, seriously. It's going to be like,
God, no! JJ, just stop making anything and go back into obscurity where you belong. I mean...
JJ, no!
JJ, it is not our fault that you are inept. It is not our fault that the things you make are crap. Go curl up and live in obscurity where idiots like you belong, please.
Maybe
everything precious and holy.
Someone mentioned it when I was sharing the movies that I was sent last time about how he got his debut as a musician, actually, for one of these.
Lord.
And so part of me thinks maybe he can go back. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know if the score is good, but maybe that's his calling.
What was the movie?
To be fair, most musicians nobody ever hears about, so that could work.
Night Beast. It was the film called Night Beast.
Okay, yeah, I remember us talking about that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm looking at it on the TV."
Yeah, it's Lloyd Kaufman.
Okay.
And original music by J.J. Abrams.
Huh.
It was his. He was like 16 years old, and this was his debut in film. Was for music.
Wonder who he stole the music from.
I don't know. Don Dollar.
And then I looked in chat and saw Rob say that J.J. Abrams video game. You can only turn the brightness up, not down.
Also, I appreciate, because I get the reference, Soul Assassins. Now wait a minute, JJ. Now wait a minute.
Wait a minute, man.
No. Now wait a minute. No. Brings me back. All right. Mr. Roy, thank you very much for sharing those films that you've been watching and your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you always for being here. ZK Man, what you been up to?
I haven't watched too much stuff. I did catch 3 movies within the past month, though.
Okay, what'd you get to see?
First one is old 80s movie called Savage Street. It's Linda Blair, the main role in it. Supposed to be about her sister gets attacked and beaten and put in the hospital, and the whole plot of the movie is supposed to be her getting revenge. But if you actually watch the movie, it is somewhere along the way they lost the plot to it. Yeah, because after her sister gets put in the hospital, you get all these other random things that has nothing to do with the actual story itself, and it's not until like the last 20-25 minutes of the movie that she actually starts doing any revenging type stuff.
Okay.
Pretty much they it's like somebody was given an opportunity to make a R-rated movie, and they's like, well, let's throw in a bunch of foul language and nudity, and we'll throw in a plot somewhere along the way.
Yeah, it sounds like one of those, 80s movies where they were like, oh, we can do this kind of stuff now. It's something that started, it started back in the late 60s, 70s when, the code era was like officially like falling away, and you started to have the actual like rating system being implemented, so that way you actually could have more adult themes and stuff. And so they're like, we can do it, so why not? Which has always been it's the HBO philosophy at this point, right? Where it's like, oh, we can have nudity, so we should. It's like, no, that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, let's be honest, some of these actors you don't actually want to see nude when they do the nude scenes. I mean,
I don't want to see any of them like that.
I'm sorry, I'm really snarky, but
I want to. That's something where that's between them and themselves, and them and a future spouse, not me. I don't want to see any of that.
Yeah, but you're the little Christian teacher. You're supposed to be all good and sweet and well behaved.
It doesn't make it any less true.
That's why I go talk to the other boys when I feel rowdy and crazy. We're not gonna understand it.
That's why I have the hunky chunky funky monkey.
That's why I talk to him and Richard and Will, because they can deal with me being a nutcase and crass better than you can.
So all right. So Savage Streets, 1984. Interesting. What else were you able to watch?
I had also watched In the Heart of the Sea movie. The funny thing is I've actually had that movie in my collection for probably a couple of years now, but it's about a week ago is whenever I finally sat down and watched it. It's supposed to be the story of what inspired Moby Dick.
Yes, I remember when this film came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, we've got this new Ron Howard movie," and it got some hype early on because it was Ron Howard, and he was going to do some really cool things. And then I remember when the film came out, and it just sunk. Like no one went to go see it, no one had any interest in it, and I don't think it. And yeah, it didn't get any award recognition either from anything except for Teen Choice Awards. Interesting. Got nominated because Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, that's purely because teenage girls wanted to look at the hot boy. Let's be honest.
Yep. Absolutely.
Wait, what do I provide, Hunky Chunky?
What?
Provides the R. Ah, gotcha. The R rating.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Glinzer had said Rosetta comes here for the PG. She goes elsewhere for the R. And then Hunky said Rosetta provides the R.
That's why I'm usually muted when I'm on the stream.
Yeah. So overall thoughts on In the Heart of the Sea?
I mean, I pretty much liked it. I've always been one of those ones that if there's any type of history to the movie, then I usually pretty much enjoy them. I know that Hollywood, they're always going to throw their own little twist on everything, but I mean, it was actually something that I didn't really know about. I mean, I knew the story of Moby Dick came from somewhere, but I didn't really know what the story was until I had seen this movie. And I mean, the visuals itself, they were pretty decent, and plot was it was like one of those deals where it's not super action. It actually gets straight to the story, and that's the type of movies that I prefer.
So it just didn't have anything really special to make one have like long-term interest in it or to go back to at any point, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. It's one of those ones where, like, me personally, I would not mind seeing it again, but if I don't, then it's not going to be nothing. It won't be a loss to me. Let's put it
Okay, so it wasn't so bad that you're like, nope, can never do this again. I refuse to watch it. It's basically if someone was watching it or invited you to watch it, you'd be like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, it seems like it's like a C-level movie where it's not offensively bad, but it's also not that great either.
Meh.
Yeah.
It's a meh film. Exactly. All right, and then what was the third film you watched?
I ended up is one of two movies that I've actually been able to see in the theater this past year, and that was Mortal Kombat.
What are your thoughts on Mortal Kombat?
I will say that it could be nostalgia, but I will probably prefer the original over this one. But I will give them credit for, as far as like the visuals go, they were more in tune with the actual video game as far as like how Mortal Kombat used to be real violent, they gore and stuff like that. So they actually they were faithful to that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the story itself goes, I like the fact that they did give sort of an origin to the feud between Sub-Zero and Scorpion. But as far as like but after that they just pretty much it's like they forgot that Mortal Kombat was a tournament thing until the very end of the movie.
Yeah. It was a weird choice they made because, when we think about Mortal Kombat, obviously thoughts of the original come up, thoughts of the video game come up, and in both cases, right, you're in the tournament, right? The tournament is a key part of the story. And this one, it was actually more of this prequel. So I think that it was actually something where I think a reason why a lot of people had issues with it was because they probably shouldn't have named it Mortal Kombat. They should have named it like Mortal Kombat : the beginnings or something. Like they should have made, I think, something in the title make it very clear. Because obviously, if you watched the trailers or did any research on it beforehand, you might have been able to figure out that it was not going to go into that. But I feel like people who are just general fans of Mortal Kombat's storyline and stuff would probably have gone into the film thinking that they would get essentially a new and updated version of the original, and then end up getting something that is not. Because again, as you said, it builds you up to this moment, and then you're like, oh, never mind, maybe next time if we make money. And it's like, oh, well, you could have at least made a effort to make it a good prequel. Like that's just like, it's I feel like if they went in, because I don't know what mindset they went in with, like whether they went in with the prequel mindset, or if, again, probably like with most films, you have a lot of cooks in the kitchen, different desires for where the story's going to go. But yeah, it's just like you could have at least done, because there was some good stuff in there. Like I always say the very opening is great, right? The original fight in, was it like feudal era Japan between Sub-Zero and Scorpion is great. And then the last fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero is also fun. And then everything else in between, you're like, well, Kano was funny. But that's all I can remember.
That?
The guy who gets the laser eye.
Oh, yeah. No, he was fun. Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah. He was clearly the comic relief, and he did a very good job.
Yes.
Providing it. So, in the end, So in the end, K-Man, what were your, I guess, overall thoughts about the movie itself?
I mean, pretty much, as far as like overall, I probably would maybe give it maybe B- at the most.
Okay.
C+, something like that. But I will give them one thing, is that for the first time ever, I actually disliked Sub-Zero.
Whoa.
Whenever anytime that like, as far as like they actually made him into a bad guy that I actually could sit there and say, yeah, I want to see him get taken down. It's like growing up, anytime I played the games and whatnot, he was always the one that I would 99% of the time choose to play as. But yeah, in this one,
that's so sad. Because you're like, it's like you're going in and you're like, I can't wait to see this character, because this is a character that I've always been a fan of, and then I'm sorry to hear that.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, But yeah, I will give them credit on that. They actually made it to where I actually for the first because I didn't really want to see him win in the original because yeah, he was a bad guy then too. But as far as like this one, I was actually yeah, when are they finally going to off him? But I mean, other than that, the only other thing would be is that kind of threw me off is because it would be not seeing ones like Johnny Cage and Katana because those two to me were main characters in the original game and whatnot, and not seeing them. I mean, I understand that they talk about they are doing a sequel that they're supposed to have like Johnny Cage, but
Yeah.
if they don't have the sequel, then he never really existed.
Yeah. And so Rosetta, you got to head out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take care of things.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here. Thanks for.
Take care.
Yeah. And again, you can support
Bye.
Rosetta. She's got the campaign on Indiegogo, and also you can support her by supporting her on PayPal as well. So I'll post that link again. And thank you again, Rosetta, for being here.
You guys have a good day.
You too.
You too.
Mwah.
Bye bye.
Kisses.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I think that for this movie especially, the thing that always I think that when I think back to it, because I got a lot. It's interesting how I got a lot of pushback on my thoughts on Mortal Kombat. There was a lot more fans of it than I thought. Like to me, when it first came out, it seemed like there was a lot of mixed reaction, and then it ended up being there's a lot of people who are very positively thinking about it. Or maybe that's just my thought because they had that one guy who claimed to be working for what was the company that he claimed Legendary, the guy that claimed to be a Legendary employee and was like, you don't know how much money it's making. Maybe that's just what had the perception be like people were defending it. But I think that there are these really cool elements. But talking about that Johnny Cage sequence, it feels, and I don't know if you feel the same way, it feels like they heard the feedback when they mentioned that Johnny Cage was not going to be in it. And then because people were so ticked off about it, they decided just to tag it in at the very end. Like that's what it felt like. It felt like it was almost not even supposed to be there originally, and they just tagged it in to make people happy.
Yeah, because whenever, spoiler for anybody that doesn't want it, at the end when they show the poster, they don't even show his face. So it's like they just threw the poster there, like I said, just to say that, yeah, see, he is going to be in the next one if you decide to show up.
Yeah. It's like, we don't have the actor chosen yet, so clearly this is our plan from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, anything else you want to talk about? Because obviously you mentioned before you don't have any dates for upcoming album and book, but anything that you can or want to share?
Yeah, I was going to say, as far as like the music goes, like I said, I don't want to put a date out there because everything's still up in the air right now with everything getting ready for move. But I'm hoping that if I can get it recorded and sent, because I'm going to have to find somebody to actually master it after I record it, because my mastering skills aren't that great. But I'm hoping that maybe I might have at least one song out before I move. But I will have something out before the end of the year is the goal. As far as the book, it probably won't be until probably sometime around beginning to mid next year.
Okay, yeah, I mean, especially with the big move coming up, because again, that's going from the very top, essentially north west of the country and going to the south. So that's gonna take a lot of time and attention to get ready for that for sure.
Yeah, because you're looking at, since I'll be driving, that's roughly, give or take, around 2,500 miles.
Woo.
Woo.
But hey, it's gonna be a pretty drive.
Yeah, so I think I looked it up, and like if you went nonstop without having to stop for rest or anything like that, that's 35 hours.
So what you're saying is that you're gonna do a 35-hour drive straight through? That's what I heard.
Probably not. I could. I've done it before, but it'll probably be one of those deals where I'll probably drive about half half the half of that amount of time, and then stop off for sleep, and then maybe try to push it the rest of the way.
See, since Mr. Roy mentioned the Mad Max universe, now all I can think of is that what you should do is you should have like a retrofitted car with like extra gas tanks like on the sides, like plugged in, and then you're just like, nope, I'm going straight 35 hours, no stops, no breaks. I got energy drinks in my hands, ready to go.
Oh, it's Smokey and the Bandit then.
Yeah.
Is that what they do in Smokey and the Bandit?
Yeah, they are supposed to go pick up a supply of Coors, I think, because Coors isn't available in that state, and he has to complete that run within a certain amount of time.
Interesting.
28 hours or so.
Yeah,
Lord.
yeah. It's been a while since I've seen Smokey and the Bandit.
I guarantee you, Owen has not seen that movie.
That's a
I
fact.
know he hasn't.
That's a fact.
Speaking of that, thank you for that giveaway, because Smokey and the Bandit comes out on 4K in a week.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, it's coming out soon. I want to say, I thought it said July 1st.
That was June or July.
Yeah, but it has indeed been ordered. Oh no, yeah. So it's set to early June. Early June.
Going into Amazon now.
Yeah, so it is released June 1st, and it says that it'll get to you within the first week of June. So
Sweet.
yeah.
Nice.
Burt Reynolds was the man.
Yeah, I'll send you the digital code so you can watch Smokey and the Bandit.
Aw, there you go. Because yeah, I guess, is it available anywhere else right now? I feel like it's an older film, so typically it's a type of movie that you would think would be on Amazon or HBO Max or one of those places.
No, it's pay-per-view only.
Wow.
It's held its value.
Wow.
Yeah, it came out the same year as Star Wars. It was the second highest grossing film of the year.
Yep.
That's interesting. The second highest grossing film of a year behind Star Wars, Smokey and the Bandit. I don't know. There's just something about it. It was like, you think of Star Wars, right? And then obviously Smokey and the Bandit was very popular and still is popular and everything, but it's also just like one of those things where you're like, it's just interesting. Like, they're very different films. I would guess. I haven't seen Smokey and the Bandit, but I'd imagine that they're probably pretty different. I'd imagine that it's probably different.
About as opposite as you can get.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you've seen one, the other one would be. You don't even have to worry about seeing it.
Well, very, very cool. Yeah, and so that is. So that's all you got, K-Man?
Well, I guess one other thing would be,
Yeah.
Come June 26th, I'll be doing an overnight walk thing for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And right now, raising money for that. I gotta update my site with the new information for it, but as of right now, I've raised about $300 of a $500 goal.
Nice.
Pretty much trying to get that all squared away. It's one of those deals where it'll be a little bit different because of the whole COVID thing, but they pretty much every year what they do is they do overnight walk. It starts like at 6 in the evening or something like that and goes through the night. Pretty much at the end of it all, you've walked about 16 miles.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
But hey, that's awesome though, with how much you've raised, and yeah, it's always great to hear, K-Man, to hear Rosetta, like all the work that they do to help out these different groups and organizations. And so I just want to say again, thank you for continuing to do that, because I remember when the K-Man's album dropped. I mean, COVID just has my whole timeline messed up. It's been It's been a year at least, right?
Yeah, about almost
Coming up on a year,
because it was, I think, November whenever it came out.
Okay. And so, yeah, and I remember he was, any profits that he made from that in that initial release, he was donating to these charities. And so that's just awesome, man. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. And if you want to support the K-Man and his work, I've posted a link to his Twitter. And on his Twitter, you can follow and you can go to his website as well. And just so that way I can get the website out for anyone who's interested. The website is xtheboundaries.co. So that's the letter X, theboundaries.co if you don't want to go to Twitter. So thank you, K-Man.
No problem.
Yeah. All righty. Everyone's doing okay? Everyone's feeling good?
Oh,
Yeah, I have to head out.
All right. Mr. Roy, any last second things you want to say before you head out?
Not really. I'll give a shout out to a small channel that I found recently.
Okay.
It's called Homemade Documentaries.
Homemade documentaries.
Cool.
I'll look that up. Tell us a little bit about them.
They do these really good, like, one person made documentaries on the NASA space program. So from the Mercury Gemini program all the way to Apollo and the space shuttle program and stuff like that. It's really well made. It's from what the channel described. It's just one dude basically putting these videos together. They're really long, really detailed. Some of them are up to 2 hours long. I mean, it's really good stuff. I've not seen someone go in this kind of detail like this, and I've not seen this kind of info really from other places. I recommend them.
Nice. Yeah. And I just posted a link to them, to the channel. Yeah. So it looks like the guy's name's Jackson Tyler, Homemade Documentaries. And yeah, he's got one called Project Gemini Part 1 in 4K, hour and 42 minutes.
Yeah. It's very rare to have anyone actually talk about the Gemini program. Usually you hear about the Mercury or Apollo, but yeah, people just skip over the Gemini program for some strange reason. Yeah, we wouldn't have got to the moon if it wasn't for Gemini program.
Yeah, and that's as someone who does not have as much knowledge about that, I always love when there's these channels where, because documentaries, especially in the modern world, with just how advanced technology is, how much easier it is to access different parts of technology, and just information in general, right? It's something where it's really a great time for documentaries about these different things, and it's just sad because the mainstream documentaries that get picked up by studios and get put out for awards and stuff are typically about stuff that in some cases they're pretty good, in some cases they talk about pretty important things, but then there's a lot of others where they just talk about things where you're like, really, that's what people spent millions of dollars on, when there's these other things independently going on that have so much more interesting stories. So that's really cool that this guy's been able to do that.
Yeah, when I found him, he only had like 6,000 subscribers. He's already up to 17, so I'm going to assume that YouTube's finally giving him his. He's probably been on here for a while.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like, and he's about 17,000 subscribers, and based on what I'm looking at, that seems to be completely just his work. I mean, because he's got thousands and thousands of views on these documentaries. And that to me tells, like, again, to get 17,000 when you have videos that have like 46,000, 393,000.
Yeah, I could say that's within a few months, because it was a few months ago I found him. He only had like 6,000 or 7,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says here that the channel, he joined back in 2011, but obviously when you join doesn't necessarily mean when you start doing things officially on YouTube necessarily. But that's awesome, dude. Yeah, thanks for that shout.
I just want to
appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Roy, thank you as always for being here, man, and for being supportive of the channel, and just for being awesome. And trust me, you will really like the second Mad Max movie. It is so much better than the first. It's actually a movie. It's how I like to describe it. It's not just a bunch of random things, people saying things. It's actually a story, and it makes sense. It's great.
Does it still have crazy Australians in it?
Oh yeah. Obviously, that's still got the crazy Aussies in it, but at least this one makes more sense. So it's one you'll want to go back to. As I'll put it that way.
All right, take care. Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks for being here, man.
Bye.
Roy.
Bye. Alrighty then. Well, before we move to Tina, Snortopoopus Cuber's here. And he says, "Hello, humans and other quitters, arriving late from an afternoon of nerdery. Well, nerdery is always welcome here, because nerd is the cool thing to do and to be. And speaking of movie nerds, we have a very large movie nerd in our next panelist. And that, of course, is the Empress of the Universe, Tina B, because I don't think there's any other bigger fan of movies in movie history that I'm aware of.
Aww.
So, Tina, what's been going on?"
Yes. Well, I didn't see as many movies this last month as I did.
Yeah, I have
month
your
before.
your diary pulled up, and I was like, not as many as I thought that you would have seen.
But I saw 4 really good ones.
I see.
Really bad ones.
Oh, I see a half star in here, and based on the name, I can't wait to hear you talk about it.
I'll get to the half-star one in a little bit, but
Okay.
but I did rewatch Godzilla vs. Kong before it went off HBO Max, and I still don't have an issue with it. What we talked about before, same here. I am really getting good in my kaiju studies.
Nice.
I guess I'm in my 5th month. I did a Godzilla quiz on YouTube, and I scored 17 out of 25.
Whoa.
Nice.
So I was like, I mean, that's not expert. That's going to take a long time, but still.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, came in half-star. Okay. I'm gonna knock my 4 stars out.
Okay.
I rewatched. I love HBO Max. I'm gonna say that because they've got so many great movies on there, and 2 that I watched. Well, 3 that were on HBO Max. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? With Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor won her 2nd Oscar. This is Nathan asked me about it, and I said, "Yeah, you can't see this movie until you're 25 or 30 because it's rough." And I think I saw it when I was like 13 or 14. My mom was like, "Yeah, I think you're old enough to see it." And when it was over, I was like, "Okay, I don't know if I ever want to get married." And it's Richard Burton plays this down and out college professor. He and Liz at that time, they were married to each other. And me and my mom used to joke, we're seeing behind the scenes of the Burton-Taylor marriage. Her father is the president of the college, and they love to play these emotional games with each other. And both of them, she stays drunk all the time. And so they invite this young couple over to their house, and the couple shows up at 2 or 3 in the morning. They all had been to a party that the president was throwing. And this couple comes over, and it's like several hours of just watching them go at each other. And everybody in this movie is psychologically damaged. But to this day, I still don't know why anyone would be afraid of Virginia Woolf. No one has ever explained that to me.
Yeah, I've always wondered, because isn't it a book as well?
It's a play. I actually saw the play here. Our Actors Theater did a performance of it in their smaller theater, the more intimate one. And yeah, there was stuff that I didn't remember from the movie when I saw the play. And then when I rewatched the movie the other night, I was like, oh, I missed that entirely. It's just insane. It's just like you're on this wild ride with these four crazy people, and you just want somebody to stop the car and let you out, because at that point you're like, I'll just walk home.
So it's not a happy movie, you would say.
No, it's not a happy movie. It's so over the top insane. But I would say that I've seen so many movies with Richard Burton. That was definitely one of his better performances. Liz Taylor gained, I think, 30 pounds for the part, because we're just talking about a few years after she was in Cleopatra.
Oh, wow.
And then I think the next year she did Reflections in a Golden Eye, and she had her shape back.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Virginia Woolf, it's just one of those movies that you just sit there, you pop the popcorn, you get out whatever your drink of choice, and you just say, yeah, I'm going to watch these four people's lives fall completely to pieces and watch them play these games with each other. And the only one in it that there's going to be one innocent person, I guess it's, oh shoot. I can't think of the actress's name. It's in my review. And she did get an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting. And she's just loony. She's got a lot of issues with, like,
Sandy Davis?
Sandy, yeah.
Or Sandy Dennis. Sandy Dennis.
Sandy Dennis. And she had one of those, every time I saw her in a movie, she had that same little high-pitched voice that always drove me crazy. And I don't know what happened to her career. I mean, she was around like in the 60s, maybe in the early 70s, and then she just kind of, disappeared. But that's Virginia Woolf. My other top-rated movie was Throne of Blood, which is Akira Kurosawa with his usual Toshiro Mifune. And they took...
Say that word again, please.
I'm sorry, which one?
The fun one.
Toshiro Mifune?
Yes. What is that?
Or Mifune?
Toshiro Mifune?
Mm-hmm. Or Mifune.
Is that the name of a person?
Yes, it is.
Okay. At first, when you said it like with his typical Mishina Mifune.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All I thought for a second I was like, oh, is that like a style that he used? And so that's why I was like, say that again. I've never heard this before. And now it's like, oh, it's an actor he's worked with.
Well, he was one of those that was in Kurosawa's acting stable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but this takes Shakespeare's Macbeth and transfers it over to Japan. Oh. Kurosawa said he always liked Macbeth, and he felt that a lot of what you see in Macbeth was reflected in feudal Japan. Mm-hmm. So, if you've seen or read Macbeth, just take the plot line and move it to Japan. And it's an excellent movie. It's a beautifully shot movie. Laura, I know when you saw Rashomon, mm-hmm. and you were talking about Kurosawa's use of movement.
Yes, yeah.
And you see that so much in Throne of Blood. I mean, it's like fog is moving, or the people are moving, or dirt is moving. And it's just a gorgeous movie. And
yeah, I'll never forget that scene of the crazy lady on the ground when she's giving testimony.
Yes.
And, like, the wind is blowing her, and she has this long robe on, and she's twisting around on the ground. I was just like, wow.
I have so many films that I finally picked up of Kurosawa, and I've not watched them yet. That's one of my goals over the summer, obviously, to one, grow in my knowledge of 80s movies, but also, because that's a perpetual goal, but also to actually start watching, because I know I have like Hiru, I want to say I had Rashomon as well, but I just want to see more of his films because I keep hearing about him.
Yeah, what do you think a good place to start for someone who would be interested in that, Tina?
I would say start with Rashomon. That's the first Kurosawa movie I ever saw.
Okay.
And that just left such a mark. I was like, okay, what else has this guy done? And then I went to like Seven Samurai.
Because that's the one I've seen Seven Samurai.
You've seen Seven Samurai.
I love that one.
Yeah. So I would go, and of course, Hidden Fortress, which is the movie that George Lucas claimed inspired him to do Star Wars, whether you believe that or not. So,
I have that one because of that reason. I just have not Again, because of the way my poor little brain works, have not.
But yeah, Throne of Blood. Oh, I was getting ready to say because if you've seen the Shakespearean play, you know Macbeth dies at the end, and what is
Spoiler
so funny?
warning.
Well, if you haven't seen Macbeth, I'm sorry. What 600-year-old spoiler?
You can't spoil a 600-year-old play.
But there's a scene at the end when they're firing off these arrows at the Macbeth character. Those arrows were real. So Toshiro Mifune is dodging real arrows.
Oh my goodness.
A little too method there.
And people thought, yeah, exactly. People thought that, James Cameron's use of water in films like The Abyss, putting actors at risk. And then he's just like, hold my beer, hold my sake. I'm gonna dodge actual arrows here.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Now the ones that actually hit him, of course, were fake, but the other ones, they're real. And I'm like, take that CGI. So. Okay. I hadn't seen this movie in a while, but I rewatched The Age of Innocence. It was on Pluto TV for some reason. I thought that was funny. But got to see it from the beginning. And this is maybe the most Scorsese movie ever. And I think that's the reason why the movie flopped hard at the box office. Because I think most people thought, Age of Innocence, we're going to go in there and see bang, bang, shoot them up, all this. No, and then they go in and it's like, what is all this? Why are these women wearing these dresses with bustles? And
one of them being Winona Ryder. I'm looking at just the image from the and I'm just like, I don't ever think of Winona Ryder wearing a dress like that.
Oh, yeah. What she did in Coppola's Dracula, which you probably have never seen.
No. That should be a foregone conclusion at this point.
Yeah, it should be. But anyway, Age of Innocence is just gorgeous because he captures that whole Gilded Age in New York at the time, where you had those top, I think they called them the 400, but they were the upper families, and all you had to do was just make one little mistake, and that could be the end. And Daniel Day-Lewis, he's playing American in this, and he, as usual, excellent. I'm curious as to how long it took him to put the character together. Because I know it took him 2 years on There Will Be Blood. But he plays an attorney. He is in an upper class family. He's engaged to Winona Ryder's character. Winona Ryder's character comes off as this little shy, I don't know why that came into my head type. And you look at some of the shots when Scorsese sets up a scene with her, and it's like, no, she is nasty. My mother hated her character. And if you look beyond the surface, if you listen to some of the lines that she says, you're like, she's not as innocent as she's trying to be. And that was one of the things I said in my review. I said, it's when Edith Wharton gave the book that title, The Age of Innocence, it's like, no, these people actually are as brutal as some of the gangsters in Scorsese's other movies. Because they will cut your throat. They will cut you down. Like I said, if you make one little mistake, they're ready to kick you out of society. The Michelle Pfeiffer character, she is a cousin to Winona Ryder's family. She comes back to New York. She's one of the Americans that married into European aristocracy. And usually it was to pump up the aristocracy because the Europeans had lost money. So they needed that American wealth as influx. She has been in a very miserable marriage. We get hints that her husband beat her, emotionally abused her. She travels a lot. She comes back to the United States thinking, well, I'm going to be with family. And Winona Ryder even drops this line like, I think she would have been better off if she had stayed with her husband. Who says that? Except that you're embarrassed. But anyway, they asked Daniel Day-Lewis to kind of look out for Michelle Pfeiffer's affairs, and he ends up falling in love with her. He's kind of a 19th century progressive, which would not be like when we hear the word progressive today, what we would think of.
Yeah.
He has a different opinion. He feels like women should be more independent. He's starting to doubt why he's even marrying Winona Ryder. But he ends up marrying her anyway, even though he's in love with Michelle Pfeiffer. But like I said, it's one of the most un-Scorsese movies I've ever seen. You don't go into it and think, oh, this is going to be what we usually get from him. And it reminded me, I think I said in my review, it reminded me of a lot of the stuff like Erich von Stroheim did back in the 1920s when he was at his height, and he made what they considered the most expensive movies in Hollywood at the time, because you see these tables laden with all this food and the flowers and the fruit, and the costumes are gorgeous, and Scorsese's the camera work. I think his cinematographer also worked on The Departed.
I was looking at it because when you mentioned the way that the shots were framed, how they made like the beautiful look ugly. It's Michael Ballhaus is his name, and he's done The Departed, Goodfellas, Gangs of New York. He also did Dracula, Last Temptation of Christ, Air Force One, Wild Wild West. This guy's done a lot.
Because when I was looking, I was doing my research to write my review, and I was like, look at this, look at what he's done.
Yeah.
And even Wild Wild West was a terrible movie,
but it was well shot. It was well shot, absolutely.
It looked good, but yeah, I've read most of the book, and I would say the screenplay really captured what Edith Wharton wrote in her book. And like I said, it has this title, The Age of Innocence. So you're thinking all these people they're just so sweet and everything. And it's like, no, they're not at all. The one little thing that always makes me smile is that Michael Gould, who played Alfred opposite Keaton's Batman, Val Kilmer's Batman, and I guess Clooney's Batman.
Yeah.
He has a role in it, and at one point he escorts Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman, to her carriage.
Oh.
And I just thought I
a fun connection.
It's just kind of fun because I'm like, oh, okay, you all worked on Batman before.
Yeah.
And my other top movie, I actually put a warning in my Letterboxd review. It is Boogie Nights.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. And that's the reason why it was so funny when Mr. Roy brought up The Happening, because Mark Wahlberg is in both. And at this time, Mark Wahlberg says he hopes God forgives him for being in Boogie Nights because of the subject matter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Mark, I think you need to ask forgiveness for The Happening.
It shook her. You're so bad.
What? No. Thankfully, I've never seen The Happening, but
well, you should.
No, never. No.
Okay.
That'll never happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm writing down right now. By Tina. The Happening on Blu-ray. It's happening.
That'll make good target practice. But I don't know. So many of you youngins out there, but
yeah.
Will Gentry, I'm just going to hint at that final scene in Boogie Nights. But that's why I put my warning in my review, because this is not a movie that everyone is going to be comfortable watching, because it's about the porn industry.
Yeah.
And that's the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But in my review, I said that's like calling There Will Be Blood a movie about oil. Yeah, oil is in it, but that's not the key thing. And it's the same thing with Boogie Nights. Yes, it's about the porn industry, but the characters are, sometimes you're rooting for them. You hope nothing happens to them. And the performances are so good. We were talking about Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds was one of the most underrated actors ever. He did a lot of crap near the end of his career. I mean, I think he popped up in a Yule Bowl movie I was looking at, and I was like, why is Burt Reynolds in this movie? And then he would do Deliverance. And then he did Boogie Nights.
Mm-hmm.
And what I loved about his character in Boogie Nights is that Elizabeth Lyons is right. He was hot and smoking. What I love about his character in this is that even though he's a director of porn, he doesn't see it that way. He actually loves movies. He cares about movies.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks movies should be put on film, real film.
Mm-hmm.
He cares about blocking. He cares about the camera work. He cares about the screenplay.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be a XXX rated movie, but he still cares.
Yeah.
And in that scene when they tell him, okay, JKD Buck, I had heard that when I was doing my research, and they said, I think he had mixed emotions about it, and he did score a Golden Globe. Well deserved. He was nominated for an Oscar, did not win it, because that was the year Titanic came out, and it was like, it was going to be hard to beat Titanic at anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when they tell him that the industry is getting ready to move into videotape, so now people can watch this material at home and not have to go to the theaters and the drive-ins and like that, he is visibly upset, because for him, they're destroying an art form. So it's almost like directors today, not comparing Christopher Nolan to a X-rated director, but
yeah,
he still puts his movies on film,
mm-hmm.
not digital.
Yeah.
So you kind of see where Reynolds' character is coming from, that he's like, no. Movies aren't videotape. Movies are film. And at that point, he starts to just kind of, it's just like, I don't care, whatever you want to do. He doesn't have that passion anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Julianne Moore, I am not a fan of hers. I never have been. But she nails it in this movie, because she's a good actress playing a bad actress
mm-hmm.
in this industry. And she's very three-dimensional, because she's got some issues in her other life, real life. They keep interfering with her. And of course, you've got, off the top of my head, John C. Reilly, who is so young. I had forgotten he was even in the movie. Don Cheadle.
Yeah. I say there's so many, like William H. Macy.
Oh my God, he is so good in this. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Heather Graham, Thomas Jane.
Graham. Yes.
Alfred Molina.
Yes.
And is this right? Robert Downey Sr.?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw his name. I didn't know him. I saw his name in the closing credits, and a little thing pops up in parentheses and says, like, he's a prince. And I was like, wait a minute. And I had to go look it up, and they were like, yes, he is the father of.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, Rhaegar's right. He does look like he's always been 53. He always does. But everybody is so good in the movie. And like I said, it's just, It's not going to be for everyone. I'm not going to sit here and say everybody should see this movie, but there are some great funny scenes in it, and of course there's Mark Wahlberg. And Mark's character was based on the infamous John Holmes, who got into the industry because of a certain attribute he had. And Will Gentry was like, talk about the final scene. I would just say, if you're curious enough, go watch the movie. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Beyond, we have heard stuff talked about through the entire movie, and in our brains, we might be wondering, well, are we going to see this? And Brian Barth is right. He does owe his career to Anderson. And I think this and There Will Be Blood, I love both of them. I think I love Boogie Nights more. But I think in lesser hands, I don't know how that movie would have turned out. I think Anderson was the right director because he had this great cast. It was lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And sometimes that just happens where everything just clicks, you know? So I think anybody that was in that movie, yeah, I know a lot of them are probably very embarrassed by some of the things they did in it, but I would say they should thank him, you know. And I'm just sorry. The movie, it was a hit. It was a box office hit. And I'm just sorry that it had the misfortune, like LA Confidential, to just come out in the year Titanic. So anyway, but JKD Buck, I don't even want to think about that. If Tim Burton had directed Boogie Nights.
I'm sure it would have been the stuff of nightmares. Would probably be.
I can't think of the guy's channel name. Super Void. I think that's his name. He's got a YouTube channel. He does projects that never happened or projects that have had issues. I've looked at the one he did. I think it's 90 minutes on all of these Tim Burton projects that never came about. And it's interesting. Burton said he knew they didn't want him for a third Batman movie. He went in to talk to Warner Brothers, and they just kept like this. Now, you really don't want to do Batman 3, do you? Until he finally just said, you don't want me to do Batman 3, do you? So, Warner Brothers, always a mess.
Every single time.
Every single time. So, my lower rated movies, I wanted to get my good stuff out of the way. MST3K was doing another fundraiser for a new season, and I know they hit their mark. And one of the movies they watched is called Hobgoblins, not to be confused with Gremlins, even though these things look like Gremlins. And I don't know anybody that was in the movie. I'm not even sure who directed it. They had a bunch of puppets. They, say, here, take this puppet and swing it around like it's attacking you. Here, roll on the carpet and take this puppet and pretend like it's attacking you. And the only person in Hobgoblins that anybody might know is that he plays the bouncer at Club Scum. He was the pawn shop owner in Pulp Fiction. That's the only person in that movie that anyone might know. And I can't say much more about Hobgoblins except watching it with MST3K made it funnier. So
nice.
Yeah,
Glenzer, it always makes it better. Every single time.
Makes it better. Yeah. And Glenzer, they said Hobgoblins was one of the worst movies they ever showed on MST3K. So yeah, it's that bad. Okay, these other two, I'm gonna thank Cult Cinema Classics YouTube channel. I think I'm gonna thank him. The girl from Calgary, like I said in my letterbox review, I think the movie was a trope. The plot of the movie was a trope before the movie was even made, and the movie was made in the early 30s because it's pre-code. But it's just that typical guy finds girl who is talented, decides to make her a star. They love each other, but won't tell each other, and then somebody comes between them. And I mean, we've seen that trope a million times. The leading actress, she had a pretty singing voice. I mean, she's supposed to be a musical star, so she had a nice voice. I found out she did have, the actual actress had a long career, and the quote unquote leading man, I would rather see a movie about his real life than what he was doing in the movie. The real actor had an affair with a married woman, killed her husband accidentally, went to San Quentin for manslaughter, got out, married the widow. I think she died in a car accident. He went on to do movies and stage, won a Tony Award. I'm like, make this movie. This is great. But that was Girl from Calgary. And it's just one of those, you know, if Cult Cinema Classics is playing it on his channel, you look at it and you're done. But Devil Woman was interesting because it was in French with no subtitles.
Oh, geez.
Which meant the chat was making up their own story. And so I went onto IMDb and there's not a lot of information about it.
So you kind of went in blind with it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's this woman and she wears this turban on her head. And then when she takes the turban off, she's got snakes for hair. But she doesn't
but she's not Medusa.
No, but she's not Medusa, which is why I called her not Medusa.
Not Medusa.
Because I think it's labeled as a snake horror fantasy kung fu movie.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, it says here, a woman is born with the power to control snakes. She uses these powers to seek revenge on the villagers who killed her parents, along with the help of a local gang.
Yes.
Wow.
So at one point you had Not Elvis because he had the sideburns. Not Elvis does kung fu with her gang, and then the snake, and then I think the snakes were doing kung fu. Or snakes. Because they were flying through the air at him, and he was going like, ah, 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 ah.
So he was fighting off the snakes with kung fu.
Yeah, but I think the snakes were doing snake fu.
Snake fu. Yes. Yes.
Soul Assassin, the comment of the day.
Snake
fu, yeah.
Now we're starting to sound like the amazing film that the K-Man found.
Yes.
A couple months ago.
I know. But yeah, and it just kind of ends. It's like that's it. I'm not sure what happened. We were kung fu. Oh my God, I'm getting ready to launch into a song. Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Yay!
The singing has happened. It was a little bit frightening.
And then I found out there was a Devil Woman sequel.
Oh, Lord. Just when you thought you couldn't get enough of Kung Fu snakes.
So
don't worry, there's more.
There's more. So anyway, maybe one day he'll show that, and I'll get to see it. But I'm hoping maybe we'll have subtitles next time, so I actually know what's going on. But my favorite bad movie that I watched was.
I have kung-fuing. Had it with these kung-fuing snakes on this kung-fuing plane. Beautiful, hunky, chunky, funky monkey. Yes.
I love this chat. But my favorite of all of them, and when I say favorite, I'm using that term extremely loosely, was Ape versus Monster.
And yes, and at first I was like, what is this? And then when I looked at it closer, I'm like, oh, so just know it's called Ape versus Monster. It came out in 2021. What do you think?
That poster is false advertising.
Oh, is it really?
Oh my god!
So we don't see those characters in the movie?
Oh, we see a big lizard. We see a derpy looking chimp that got bigger. That's Ape versus Monster.
Yeah, an ape crash lands on Earth, which creates a sludge that makes him and a passing lizard grow to giant size, resulting in a fight for dominance.
Oh, there was no fight for dominance!
With the tagline, the greatest of all time.
What
It's a
is
scary looking lizard monster?
Are you looking at the real monster or the one on the poster?
I'm looking at images from the movie. Oh my.
Oh yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. The lizard is probably the best effect, and that's not saying much. It's just, and he spends most of the time in the movie underground, and I was like, oh well, that will save on effects.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, Eric Roberts is in this movie. Eric Roberts, Julia's brother.
That makes it so much better.
Oh my god! But he knew he was in a garbage movie because
the CG.
You see him like trying not to laugh, and you see this twinkle in his eyes, and Eric's like, "Yeah, I'm just here for the paycheck."
Nice.
Oh my god! And it's free on YouTube, or it was like the other week.
Oh.
Because I had seen Mr. H reviewed it, Autori reviewed it, and they were like, "We watched it so you won't have to."
Oh, Glinzer. Geico Gecko versus Curious George would have been a better film. Glinzer, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Well done. Well done.
Even for the asylum, this is bottom of the barrel. I was just like, oh, I can't even believe they're doing this.
Well, when this comes from the same director of I wish I was making this up. Okay, this guy has directed 500 Mile Per Hour Storm. That's the name. 500 Mile Per Hour Storm. Mommy Would Never Hurt You.
Uh-oh.
A film literally called Top Gunner. Not Top Gun, Top Gunner. Oh.
Well, they've made movies like Transmorphers.
Yeah.
The Fast and the Fierce. Sunday School musical. And of course, Sharknado. Who can forgive Sharknado?
Also, Eric Roberts is in Top Gunner. So it looks like Eric Roberts is
Eric.
It looks like he's the muse of this director.
Oh my gosh.
You know how every director has their muse? In this case, the brother of Julia Roberts is his muse.
Eric Roberts was an Oscar nominee before anybody even knew who his horse-faced sister was.
Ooh, that was real.
Ooh.
No, I do not like Julia Roberts. I never have.
Oh.
Me and my baby sister.
Sure?
Oh, not saying she can't act, but oh.
By the way, I had no idea Eric Roberts was that guy. I had no idea that he was related to Julia. It's the dude who was one of the mafia guys from The Dark Knight. Huh.
Oh, he was. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, he got his Oscar nomination for Runaway Train with Jon Voight and Rebecca De Mornay. Excellent movie. And And then he did some other very noted movies. And then Julia came on the scene, and everybody's like, "Hey, Julia!" And Eric just kind of like drifted off to the side. And it was like, yeah, but everybody knew Eric before she ever even showed up.
Wow.
So he was, like I said, he knew he was in a piece of garbage. So he even says a Dr. Strangelove line at one point. And I just started laughing, and you just kind of see like this. He's just trying to be so super serious, and I'm like, Eric, they stole that from Dr. Strangelove, but you delivered it so well. But everybody else in the movie, I don't know who they are. I don't care who they are. I hope that their jobs at Wendy's and White Castle and McDonald's are going well. I don't even know who the characters, what their names were. That's why in my Letterboxd review, I said scientist girl and Russian scientist spy soldier girl and soldier man. And
Is Soldier Girl and Soldier Man the sequel and trequel to Soldier Boy?
probably.
Soldier boy.
Soldier Girl in the oh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Eric Roberts was in Star 80. That's where I know him from.
Yes, that is
such a
such a good
sleazeball.
movie.
And it's like I know him from somewhere.
And
Well-
I knew how it was going to end, and all I could do was just sit there and hold on to the chair.
I
I
wonder
was
if
just
that
like-
killed his career because he hasn't done much since then.
But it's and Peter Bogdanovich was the director, I think, and he got a lot of critical praise for it.
Did he do Batman before or after that? Let me see.
Star
That
80 was years ago.
83.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That might have killed him as far as, his image because he was such a sleazebag.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But he played it so well because they said that's what the real guy was like. No, I don't think you'd ever want.
No.
See which one?
It's
Star 80.
Star
Star
80.
80.
It's a true story.
Mm.
Yeah. And like I said, I knew what was going to happen when I went into it because I had read about the case. That was before I ever went on the police department. It was just one of those fascinating homicide cases. And is it Mariel Hemingway that played Dorothy
Yes.
Stratton?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And Dorothy Stratton was this playboy, like play girl of the year or, something like that. And she marries this sleazeball, or she was already married to him, and then got Hugh Hefner, put her on the cover of Playboy and everything, and she became famous. And next thing we know, she's dead, and her husband's murdered her and then committed suicide. And it was just it sounds like he may have tortured her before he murdered her. So it's just one of those horrible cases. And when you see the movie, it's like you already know what's going to happen. So you're looking at the performances and everything. And Eric Roberts was great. He really was. So, it was just kind of a shame to see him. Well, J.K.D. Buck said he is in everything, just like, if they can't get Christopher Walken, then they say, where's Eric Roberts?
Just looking at his filmography, I was like, he's been in so many things, and this is just the last couple of years.
Yeah, so he's really hit on really hit on hard times, but you can tell he's having fun where everybody else is like they're trying to like the monster is coming and ape is coming, and it's like no.
Oh, he did Sharktopus.
Shocktopus?
Sharktopus.
Sharktopus.
Yes.
Sharktopus. Oh my!
It's a
let me look at it.
shark octopus?
Let's see here. Sharktopus.
Oh.
Let's see.
I
Is
may
it
have-
a half shark, half octopus? Yep.
Oh.
well, that sounds about right.
Well then.
It's an
I-
intelligent shark too. It's not just a dumb shark. It's typical.
In case you were worried, in case anyone was concerned about whether or not the shark had
Oh my gosh. But the ape's name is Abraham. And we find this out because scientist girl, her father is, I'll just call him scientist dude. He's one of those, I'm sorry I wasn't a better father because
of course.
I was involved in my work. And but scientist girl's an animal rights activist and a scientist with, as she said in a phone call, the National Science and Space Administration. So you mean NASA? Why couldn't you just say NASA? Why'd you have to say all that other,
Because it's a pristine, high quality film. That's what.
But yeah, the capsule has.
Does the lizard have a name?
Monster.
So Abraham versus Monster could have been another name for the film.
Could have been another name.
Wow.
Okay,
Fred.
well, Fred.
Abraham versus Fred.
Larry the Lizard.
The scene that because I had started getting bored, so I was doing other stuff while it's playing in the background, and I hear the extras going like, "Oh my God, it's happening!" Oh, because there's aliens in this too. I forgot that.
Oh my goodness.
And they're in orbit around Earth, and they're controlling Abraham and Monster.
Oh my goodness.
I just don't even know. My head's going to explode. But the scene that made me look up, and I was like, I didn't just hear that. And then I went into the comments, and other people had heard it too. They used the copyrighted Godzilla roar.
How'd they get away with that?
I don't know, because people were like, should we be calling Toho to let them know that this...
Well, the whole point of copyright is to obviously protect artists from having, their work stolen to have, financial impact on them. I bet they maybe got notified by it, and they're like, oh, wait, what's it called? Ape versus Monster? What's the ape's name? Abraham? What's the monster's name? Monster? Oh, no. Go right ahead. That's okay.
I have nothing to worry about. But yeah, people in the chat were like, go to the 1 hour, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I was right. That really was Godzilla's roar. And I mean, it was like one comment after another. And somebody did say what you just said.
Yeah.
That Toho would never even recognize a piece of crap like this. So for them to give Asylum attention by saying, we're going to sue you all for stealing this copyrighted roar, it's not worth it to them.
No. It costs them more in the long run, and they wouldn't get any money back either. So
you're right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, it's just, oh my gosh. I mean, after a while, I just stopped laughing because it was like, this isn't even so bad. It's good. It's just bad. And
the chat's having a lot of fun with this movie. I can say that. Abraham, as Laura informed me.
No, Soul Assassin.
Soul Assassin put Abraham for. Yeah, that Stora Poopus had Fred spelled PHRED. So he's fancy. He's a fancy Fred. You got your sneaky little snake. You got your sneaky little snake. You got your, fancy little Fred.
Soul Assassin's right, because which Godzilla movie is that where Zilla shows up and Godzilla just takes him out like in less than a minute? And that was like Toho's way of giving a middle finger to the 98 Godzilla, who they refer to as Zilla. Just to let you know, no, this is not the official Godzilla. This is something the Americans came up with.
It might as well have been Monster at that point. I mean, seriously.
But anyway.
Yeah.
That's
a good one to end that list on. Yeah.
Oh my God. Ape versus Monster. But yeah, if you want to take a chance on it, it was free on YouTube. And in 4K. at that. So you get to see the whole glorious mess. So.
You get to see the entire film in 4K. Well, also the first you put in ape, the first thing that pops up is ape versus monster.
Yeah.
There's the trailer. There is the movie. 25,000 views. Hey, this has a better ratio than most White House speeches. 657 likes to 259 dislikes.
That isn't a high bar. No.
That is true. That is true. But they're doing something right, it looks like. So if you want to look at it yourself, I'm posting the link. Boom. That is the link. And it's called, in this one, it's called Giant Ape versus Giant Monster.
Oh, that's probably the sequel.
No, it's the same. It's just that they, because there's the tag. It's 109.54 is when they use them.
Yeah. Okay.
There it is. I don't know if y'all could hear that or not, but people on stream could.
Hear that right?
Oh my gosh.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go to it so everybody can hear it. Yep, that's the roar.
That's the roar. Yep. That's it. So.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, because like I said, I looked up and I was like, wait a minute, no, they didn't. And people in the comments, I mean, it was just like one after another saying, I can't believe that they actually stole Big G's roar.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, they went there.
They didn't have much to go off on, so they're like, hey.
No, but yeah, I mean, some of you might laugh harder than I did. I mean, you all know I love bad movies that end up being good for some reason, like The Room or Miami Connection or Samurai Cop, but this, just after a while, it was just like, oh no, this is. And I joked, I said, yeah, this is one of those kid. Mom, can we go see Godzilla versus Kong? We have Godzilla versus Kong at home. Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah. Because you know how every year there's like these big movies that come out. There's always this D-level movie where it chooses the just same, like, it's like generic language and it's the same movie, but it's not. And they do that, and it's actually pretty. It's one of those things where it's genius, but then it's also like I have questions because they do it because people honestly will think that's the movie, or and so but then I'm like, how do you get tricked by not knowing Godzilla versus Kong is not the same thing as ape versus monster? I have questions.
Well, and look at that poster. That's why I said the poster's false advertising, but it's making you kind of think, oh, this is the long-awaited Godzilla versus Kong until you put it in your Blu-ray player and take a look at that sucker. So
absolutely. Well, thank you for bringing that into our lives, because that is just, I'm so excited.
I'm not sure if that was a good thing or not.
Oh, I think it already is a good thing, Tina.
Oh my gosh.
So Tina, thank you as always.
You're welcome.
For being here and for being the Empress of the Universe and one of the best mods in the business. So thank you. And Laura, how y'all doing? Y'all doing okay?
How am I supposed to follow that?
Well, I know there were some things you wanted to discuss. I have not watched the full episode of Bad Batch yet, because I know that you had issues with the most recent episode.
I'd rather talk about Burt Reynolds personally.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, boom.
What you got to say about Burt Reynolds?
I just really would encourage you to watch Smokey and the Bandit, and he did a bunch of movies like that in the 80s, like a Cannonball Run. You know, these gigantic cast of just really fun people. Dom DeLuise is in that one too.
Oh, fun.
I don't know. Is Dom DeLuise's character in Cannonball Run, is that where Cecil's costume came from?
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
It looks, was it Captain Chaos or whatever? 'Cause it looks very similar. So no, I would highly encourage you to watch not only Smokey and the Bandit, but all of his stuff. He did a musical in the 80s with Dolly Parton, The Best Little, I can't say the word, in Texas.
Oh no, you can say that one. It's the name of a show and everything. So
okay.
yeah.
Yes, the best little whorehouse in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Dolly Parton. It's just he was just so big in the 80s, and I had just so much fun as a kid watching all of his stuff.
Okay.
Tina, did you see when he showed up on the Golden Girls?
I heard about that episode. I think my mom told me. Guess who popped up on Golden Girls?
Oh, and are you familiar with the Golden Girls?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
The TV show. So
I am. Yes, I actually am familiar with the show. Surprisingly, but yes.
So he shows up at the front door, and they open the door, and they're all just standing there like gobsmacked.
Yeah.
And they were like, Burt Reynolds is at her door. And he just, he stands there like he is, just all casual.
Yeah.
And he's like, howdy, ladies. Which one of you is the slut? And all four of them at the same time go, I am.
Oh, that's so
my
great.
God.
I had a roommate in college who was obsessed with the Golden Girls. So I had seen it before then, but he watched it like daily. And so every now and then I'd walk in, and like whenever the TV was open and he was like eating food, like he would be watching that. And so I'd sometimes catch some episodes that I hadn't seen before. And yeah, it's funny.
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, just such a fun show.
Yeah.
No politics at all, really. They never really got into anything. Every once in a while they dip into something, kind of controversial, but it was always with a funny slant. So
Yeah. And
that's what entertainment used to be like.
Yes.
And K-Man has a good point. He says Odin has time to watch Golden Girls, but not 80s movies. Yeah, that is true.
Well, it's you live with somebody. Sometimes you're forced to watch what they're watching. So.
Yes, this is very, very, very true. There were a lot of interesting. So yeah, one show, Tool Academy. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It was on MTV. Yeah, it was on MTV. And my roommate was watching it one year, and I just decided to watch it with him, and then we both got into it. We both just started watching the whole show from that point forward.
Yeah, it's amazing when you hang around other people. Like my wife was into that Flava Flav, The Search for Love,
Flavor of Love.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
So bad.
Those are the best.
So
Those are the
fun.
best shows, though. They're so bad.
Some of those girls, I think they spun off a couple of those girls on their own show. Was it? There's one chick, the New York chick. She was very entertaining. She's just over the top. But yeah.
Don't you always love, like, how'd you get famous? Oh, well, I was on Flavors of Love, and
15 minutes. Got that 15 minutes. That's
Seriously.
hard-earned 15 minutes right there.
What else?
No, I don't mind talking about the Bad Batch. I don't
Yeah.
know. Just so much of that stuff. It's just so. It's like so negative. I don't even. I don't know if I want to go there.
Okay. And any movies or shows that you do want to?
Let's see. Oh, I loved Emma.
The newer one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
It really is.
Oh, that actress. She was also in Queen's Gambit, which is on Netflix, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Have you seen that yet? Or
I have not. It's been on my list of things to watch for a while because my wife wants me to watch it too. But yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy, I think she's just such a talented young actress. So I'm excited to see what roles she's able to do in the future because she's done a lot of good stuff. And I think that she was chosen. I don't know if they made it official or not, but yeah, she is Furiosa in the Furiosa spin-off movie. And even though obviously if you compare like the look of her to Charlize Theron, some people might say, oh, it's not a one-to-one look. I'm gonna say right now though, she's gonna act the role a heck of a lot better than Charlize Theron ever could.
yeah, the Queen's Gambit wasn't quite what I expected it to be. I don't know why I even turned it on. I think I was just looking for something to. But she from the moment it started, it just grabbed me. I was like, oh my god, this is so better than I thought. So I mean, I would recommend it. It does go. I mean, it's only one season.
Yeah.
And there are some slow parts. So I mean, if you've got nothing else to watch, it's a good thing to turn on.
Yeah, and it's funny because when the show came out, there was this increase in chess sets of people buying chess sets. And it's always fun to see when like a certain movie or show comes out that deals with a certain area, and then there's like something like a game or something connected to it, and then all of a sudden there's just a huge increase in interest in the game of chess. And so it's pretty great.
Yeah, it's I mean, the thing is like I used to play with my brother a lot, and that the end game is the hardest part. You know, it's like I would always do pretty good at the beginning, but like the further you go, the more you have to keep like all the possible moves in your head. And I didn't have the memory for that. So, you know, watching her do it, and she's kind of computing all the different possible moves, and then, you know, somebody does something you're not expecting and you have to recalculate everything. It's kind of fascinating how they show her playing chess in her head.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat.
I wish cause I can play chess. I know how to play it, but I can't plan ahead moves or anything like that. The furthest extent that I can get, and I mentioned it last night to those that could actually see the stream last night, that we've been playing, it's called Mexican Train. And it's a game that you play with dominoes. And it's essentially you're trying to create the longest train, and you're trying to match up the dominoes with the, you know, you have your own train. There's a public train. If you've ever played it before or know anything about it, it's actually a lot of fun. But that's like the furthest along that I can really get as far as thinking ahead, is if it's like a few moves or so. But chess is just, oh yeah. Like, because there's people where first move, or by the first or second move, someone can say they've lost or they've won, which is just crazy to me that people can think that far ahead.
Well, yeah, if you don't respond correctly, it's a two-sided game. You not only have to plan your attack, but you have to defend against theirs, you know. And sometimes you think that they're starting out a certain way, and then they like do the first starting moves of a normal pattern, and then they shift it and change it to something else, and you're like, well, dang.
Yeah. Well, because you think about how people probably, you know, if they've been playing it for a long time, or they have one of those types of minds where they can probably have all of the standard moves memorized, and the fact that there are still people that can, you know, beat that is just crazy.
Well, I mean, early on, you're very limited to what you can do. I mean, that's why they talk about openings, because there's only so many openings that really work.
Yeah.
And they show that in the show. She's playing against somebody, and he does an opening, and the look on her face, she's just like, oh, I've never seen somebody do that before. And he nearly beats her. And at the end, she's like, you're like the best I've ever played.
Oh, wow.
And he's just like, he's like a kid, you know. She's like, I think I wish it was a true story, but it's not.
I for some reason thought it was based off a true story.
That's what I was looking for. I thought certainly, but no. Would have been, you know, made it much more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have been able to, because finally things have opened up for you in California a little bit, so you've been able to see some movies in the actual theaters.
Yeah, I mean, with my attention span, and there's always so much going on around here, it's just easier for me just to go to the theater, you know.
And how's that been? Has it been fun going back?
Oh, yeah. Everything's open. All the theaters are open. Everybody made it through. So
good.
I was worried. I haven't had any problems. There's been quite a few people in the theaters, which is nice.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because are y'all still at capacity, like 25, 50% capacity?
God, who knows what's going on? Whatever the fascist governor of my state decides he wants to let us do. Yeah, I think they're spacing, you know. I mean, which is weird because you're in a gigantic seat anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like Lilith from that.
Well, also like
gigantic seat.
Because they've updated all their stuff, you know, and you know it was 6 feet, now it's 3 feet, and all this, and so you look at some people still going by the old standard, and you're just like, what, you know, what's even true anymore at this point?
Yeah, Yeah, I took my mask off at work. I was like, I'm immunized.
Yeah,
I've got the shot. My coworker has a shot. We're the only two people in the whole building, so I'm not wearing the stupid thing at work anymore.
I had some of the best news I had was the last week dealing with that, because as I think I mentioned, mask today, first time, first Sunday, don't have to actually wear a mask, and it was just great to be at mass without a mask on. But then also for school, we were told that so literally exams finished, starting Monday, starting the actual beginning of our summer, we have a week or like a week or so of like at school stuff, but then there's also summer camps. And so for all things at summer, over the summer period at school, the mask requirement's gone too.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Which is great, because I'm just like, I can
you.
finally go back to school and not have to worry about it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. It's also, it's a good sign that we'll probably have that next semester, but they haven't been able to confirm that because it's too far away at this point. And as we all know, things are changing constantly in the mainstream narrative. So who knows what it'll be next year.
I'm sure the kids are so excited too.
Oh, I mean, all of them are just like, are we going to have to still wear? And that's why before the exam, because we got an email like during the beginning of exams, and I was like, make sure to let them know, hey, by the way, this is a good sign. There's nothing confirmed for next year at this point, but it's looking good. So,
oh, thank goodness. But no, I have noticed like there were things that I watched at home and then watched in the theater, and it's just, you know, obviously completely different experience. So, you know, Kong versus Godzilla was just a completely different experience in the theater.
Yeah.
So, I guess we can. No, the Bad Batch. It's, you know, I realized while I was watching it, kind of the same thing that I've heard a lot of people say about, you know, a lot of Filoni's stuff. It's, you know, I don't know. Where's this going? What is the point? What is the point of the show? It's I was watching the Bad Batch. I think it was like episode 6. And, you know, one of the characters, who's a female, about 100 pounds, throws one of the bigger clone troopers, like, you know, against a wall. And I was like, I just can't do this anymore. It just doesn't make any sense.
It kind of reminded, because, when you mentioned that, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Mandalorian, when you had the Mandalorian played by Sasha Banks, the really small wrestler who was able to like pull and like out strengthen Boba Fett, and you're just like, what? Like, it's one thing if she's more quick and more cunning, but it was literally like she was out pulling him strength wise, and you're like, no, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't.
Well, all that they would have to do would be have her like grab him with some kind of retractable rope.
Exactly.
That would pull him off balance. Because when you have that much weight on you, you just need to be pulled off balance slightly, and you're going to go flying forward. I mean, but they don't even try to make physics like a thing. It's just like, it's whammon power. Don't question
exactly.
it.
So don't question anything. This is a fictional universe, and so even though we're using, you know, human characters in this fictional universe, the rules don't. It's just like, no, just don't.
The point I should have given up on Filoni and Star Wars was, I had always assumed that Ezra, Thrawn, and all of them at the end of Rebels, I had always assumed that they were going to come back in the last Star Wars movie. And then when I saw the ghost in the last movie, I just assumed that that they were all going to be re-involved in the story and have some impact on the story. And when they didn't, that's when I should have been like, okay, nobody knows what they're doing here.
But you really want to. It's because I totally understand it, because you go back to the Clone Wars, you go back to Rebels, and so you remember, you know, how much you enjoy those. Because remember, you shared this early on, as you know, from one of the earliest Chosen streams, about how it was Rebels that like got you back into Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
And
I just my in and out experiences with Star Wars, right? Yeah.
So I'm just commenting to someone who. So yeah, someone's mentioning
okay.
about Pentecost. Yes, Pentecost is both a Jewish holiday and it is also a Christian holiday as well. So, yeah, but I believe you're right, JKD Bug. Pentecost from the Jewish perspective is about commemorating the law being given, so the law coming down from Mount Sinai, and then for Christians, it is the 50th day after the resurrection being commemorated. So.
Cool. But no, you're right. I like Rebels because it got me back into Star Wars. But at some point you have to ask. It's like, you know, if the Rebels had like never existed, the story would have been the same. I mean, they had no influence on the overall story. Yeah. And it's like, I'm just kind of tired of these pointless side quests that have, you know, no real meaning. Yeah. Or contradict what the movies had already said. So.
No, I totally agree. And yeah, it's sad because Bad Batch already has put things in that defy continuity. And yeah, obviously we have a strong connection, or at least there's this faith that we want to have in Filoni because we've seen what he can do. But then you think about what also he's done as far as story and as far as continuity breaking, and then you're like, how can this person be the so-called savior of Star Wars if they can't even follow basic continuity? It's just it's a hard pill to swallow and really to accept, because continuity is a pretty important part of a large universe.
Yeah, I don't think it's that complicated where you can't find people who, who know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Trying to think what else. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, just glad to be back in the movie theaters. Glad to have life returning to normal here. So
that's good. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, you get the recall, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I can start to loosen things up a bit. Gosh.
Yeah, I just we did 2 days at Disneyland in a mask, and that was quite something.
Yeah,
I was so exhausted.
Seriously, yeah, I've never understood the whole if you're outside, where it's like, what? That defies everything that we know from history of virology and all this other stuff. It's like, no, if you're outside in your space, there's no reason to, for the most part, unless you have an incredibly deadly, like something that's going to kill the vast majority of the population, or even have the population. Like, what? No.
Yeah, it was nice being. I mean, Disneyland at 25% capacity. We literally ran from ride to ride. It was just so exhausting. And you still had to go through all of the line stuff. So they have all of the places where people would be standing if there was a line.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, why don't they just fix this so I can just get right on the ride?
It's like there's no purpose to this anymore.
I know. I was like, running, but yeah, I did my my number of steps. I did 13 miles in 2 days.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's the thing about theme parks, is that because a lot of theme parks that I've gone to in my life, it was like prior to having Fitbits and things that track steps, and so yeah, you don't realize how much walking you do in a theme park.
Some impressive blisters when it was all over. So.
But the rides, that's why you go, is for the fun.
Well, everything was open for a change.
That's
Normally
good.
Something's shut down. So
yeah.
Oh, so tired.
And it's always so sad too. You go and you're like, I'm so excited to do this, and then it's not open. What? Boo.
No, it was fun. I mean, I probably won't go again for quite a while, but
I'm glad that you got to go, though.
Yeah. It's just such a good stream. It was so much fun. I just Tina and her movies this week.
I mean, everyone's gonna go watch 8 vs. Monster in 4K on YouTube now.
Oh, I've got the link ready on the stream.
Oh no. Yes. Well, anything else, Laura, before we wrap things up?
But thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you all for being here. So, K-Man, Tina, Laura, thank you so much. Of course, thank you to Rosetta Allen and to Mr. Roy for being here earlier. And with that, we are right at the end. And so, just as farewells, let's go ahead and just go down the line. So, the K-Man, any last things you want to say?
Not too much. Just hoping everybody has a good Sunday, and for the places that are opened up and whatnot, enjoy it, because it is something that is worth.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's something that some people are taking for granted because some states have not been as, restrictive, and it's something that, being out and about recently, I was like, I should have done this more. Because I had the ability and capacity, and I didn't take advantage of it enough.
That's same here. I mean, you're looking at where I live. I'm literally within walking distances of a few different trails, but I never took the opportunity like I should have before all this happened. And then now it's just starting to slowly get back, but people are still hesitant about going to the trails and all.
Yeah, and I, of course, put it off for so long because obviously there's a lot of things going on with the baby boy and with school, but now it's like summer weather here in Tennessee, and so I missed out on a lot of really nice winter cool weather to do hikes and trails, but oh well. But thank you for being here, K-Man.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tina, any last?
I'm not gonna rant today. I'm sorry. So.
That's why we're here, Tina.
I know. I mean, if I ran, it'll be another 30 minutes. I'll just JJ, you're like the Roman Empire. You just steal and incorporate and pretend you made it. You're a racist writer for Superman. Oh my God. But I am glad to hear that Anna's, I guess her ovaries exploded again because Henry Cavill's in talks to do Highlander. I'll be there. Oh my gosh.
It seems like it's on a weekly basis where something new happens with Henry Cavill that causes her ovaries to
Henry's hot. I don't get it. I'm like Gary was saying, that dude should be in everything. We shouldn't be able to turn around without saying, "Oh my gosh, Henry Cavill's in another movie." And
he's got the look of he's like a modern movie star, like with the look he has. It just would fit into a lot of different genres and everything.
He's a Greek god. Look at him. Oh my gosh. What is wrong with you, Warner Brothers? Oh my gosh. Jack Ellis rolling in his grave right now.
Because he's a manly man. We can't have manly men in our movies anymore.
Toxic masculinity, you know?
Yeah, I'm looking at I looked at an hour and a half of the video last night. EXCI dropped a 5+ hour treatise on the destruction of Doctor Who.
Oh wow.
And so I'm only an hour and a half through it, and it's just like, yes, only so much I can look at Jodie's face, and that Jodie's just right up there with Daisy Ridley, open mouth and glare into the distance, and that's acting. Well, anyway, everybody enjoy Ape versus Monster.
And there's one positive thing that we can take from what Tina said about J.J. Abrams. At least he built the roads.
He did.
If he's like the Roman Empire, so take what whatever you want from that as far as what those roads stand for. But he contributed something, I guess. There we go. It's the nicest thing you'll hear her say about J.J. Abrams.
That probably is. But yeah, enjoy Ape versus Monster. And seriously, go. I posted my Letterboxd link. Go read my reviews. Some of them get very detailed, like I tend to do, but I have fun writing them. And hey, go catch Boogie Nights if you're of the mind. So.
No, Tina. They're going to be watching this link instead. Ape vs. Monster. There it is. YouTube link
there
posted once again. Yeah. There you go. And JKD Buck said it good. The road had a terrible end. And Snorter Poopa says he built the road, but they go nowhere. Exactly.
Nowhere.
Exactly.
Amen to that.
So thank you as always, Tina, for being here and for modding as well. And then Laura, any last second things you want to say?
I sincerely hope that in the Highlander movie they do not have anybody redo the Queen music, because nobody can compare.
I know.
That was the best part.
It'd be like if they tried to remake Flash Gordon and they tried to remake the song.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Nope.
No.
Wouldn't be good.
No.
But I think all of us can agree with that one, especially. If you're going to do it right. Here's hoping.
I think Queen's pretty hot these days still. I know my daughter listens to Queen.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Still very popular. It's one of those like evergreen bands. You know, like there's certain bands that like are always popular in every era. I feel like Queen is in that category.
Oh yeah, especially with the movie just out. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that
is
70s
epic.
rock fan Viggo Mortensen's road is more fun than JJ. If you've never read or seen the movie The Road, it's one of the most depressing things you can watch. So that's saying a lot right there.
JKD Buck said, "Wonder who will play Sean Connery's character." Well, I hope if he's going to be Spanish, he actually has a Spanish accent, not a Scottish one. Why they cast Sean Connery? I love Sean Connery, but it's like you're playing Spanish. You have a Scottish accent.
Well, it's like when they turned me into a Japanese man. Maybe it's for the best that I didn't change my voice.
You can tell the era in Hollywood where there was a lot of blow happening because it's just like, it'll be fun.
But you know what's so funny is that you look at that movie and you're like, that's the most tasteful way I could have ever seen that for a film of that time. When they could have made it much, much more offensive than what it was. So at least it's not as offensive as it could have been. So.
Oh, I forgot he was a Soviet submarine captain. That's right.
Oh, yes.
I like that movie.
But I shall talk like this.
I love it.
The Hunt for Red
Red
October.
October.
Yes.
Yes. And fortunately, I've never seen Zardoz, but I know of him in the diaper.
Oh, no. On that note, Sean, keep that image. Thank you to everyone who watched the stream today. I hope you all had a lot of fun. Shout out especially to the members on the channel, and I'll go ahead and pull that list up. And as I do, as always, a huge shout out to the panel, to the Chosen of Valhalla, to Tina, to Steph, to Mr. Roy, to K-Man, to Rosetta Allen, and to the others as well who were not able to join today. Again, seriously, thank y'all for all the love and support over the last, because we just celebrated the 3-year anniversary of the channel. So thank y'all for all the support, because a lot of y'all have been here basically the entire 3 years. So thank y'all.
It doesn't feel like 3 years.
I know, it just seems like it's flown by, and yet I'm like, oh yeah, 3 years. Look at that. But a shout out to also the members of the channel who are at the Army of Asgard level and above: Sean McD, Amando Spieler, Gomer Kyle 79, Your Muslim Uncle, Kara Tharp, Eric Jewett, Rich the Savior, Dadman Walk 55, M Tack Shark, Forever Sci-Fi, Rosie G12, Andrew Hoyle, Eric K, Orange Chat Reviews, Adam Avery, Twirly Wolf, Jace Doe, and Aiden Vickery. You guys are all freaking awesome people. And Hunky Chunky, I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing ever happened. That did not happen. And just another red shirt. I wish I'd seen it sooner. Yes, I agree as well. But anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. I have to use the restroom and eat. So much love to everybody. Have a wonderful night. And also, as just a reminder to myself, a shout out, since he's not yet in the video, shout out to Washington Madranda for being a new Patreon member. But for everyone else, have a beautiful Sunday. Blessed Pentecost to everybody out there. Glad the stream was able to work today. And as always, God bless.
Bye.
And now for a huge shout out to all of my Patreon and Subscribe Star members for the month of May: Ali C83, Andrew Hoyle, Biffer the Hobbit, Brian P, Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father. Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toone, Jonathan Carney, Laura the Modern Major General's Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, On to June, Orange Chat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Priscilla Hall, Riff Magos, Rosetta Udden, Steve Glasker, Miss Martin Muses, Theodore Benden, Tina Bojan, and Tina B. Thank you all very much for being my Patreon members this month. I really always appreciate you. And to my Subscribe Star members, Fast Reaction, Nosferatu Gatsu, Stand For, John B., Perpetual Punster, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., Dean Heiss, the new number 2, J-Rod, the Beer Guru, Nevadan G. Adams, and ZK Man. Thank you very much for supporting me on Subscribestar. And if you want your name shouted out at the end of every video and live stream, please consider joining on Patreon or Subscribestar. And if you join at some of the higher levels, you get access to things like giveaways, where every month I do giveaways of 4K titles, steelbooks, and Blu-rays. And again, more information can be found over on Patreon and Subscribestar. And at the higher levels, you also get access to an exclusive bi-monthly podcast. Depending on our schedules, we at least get one long podcast out. We try and get 2 podcasts out as often as we possibly can every single month with John the Flick Pick Flickinger. So again, check out more information. And if you are at the Chosen of Valhalla level, which is the highest level available, you not only get all of those things, you also get in your first month a free t-shirt and also access to the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, where I have my Chosen on a stream talking, asking questions, answering questions, talking about movies and anything that they want to talk about. So if all that stuff sounds like fun to you, check out those links below and support the channel in whatever way you can. I do appreciate you, whether you are a member, whether you are a supporter on Patreon, Subscribestar, or whether you are simply supportive in general, leaving comments and likes. I really greatly appreciate it. You guys are all amazing, beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.